organize one of those days.
I mean, you could do that right now, but
I have 3 shows tonight.
What? Yeah. Where?
The Comedy Store.
Dang.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So you don't do well like.
No, I have a weird thing about sobriety.
Should I wear headphones, by the way?
Oh no, you don't need headphones. We're good. I have a weird thing about sobriety where I need to be 100% sober if I have stuff anything for like once I start drinking I tap the fuck out. Like
really?
Once I start drinking I go, all right, day's over, we're having fun. Mm-hmm. I'm not someone who can like. I have a buddy, Dave Williamson, very funny comedian, toured with me for a lot of this past tour, and he's someone who can just like have a beer at lunch.
I can't do that either, and I know a lot of people. When I was on Wall Street as a lawyer, and people were like, "Hey, have a beer," and I'm like, "Do you want me to do any more work today?"
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I can understand with Coke, like Coke's something if someone's like,
yeah, there's that. There was a lot of that on Wall Street too.
I can't do that with weed.
I'm trying to get comfortable, and it's so awkward. I'm gonna turn this chair.
Yeah. Sorry. Do whatever you need to do.
Super heavy ass chair. There we go. I need to do some deadlifts. Yeah, because I felt like I was turning in like this awkward like talk show way where you have to hold your hands in a certain way.
I wonder if everyone's felt like that.
Maybe not. I don't know.
So we met a few years ago through Zane.
A long time ago. Yeah.
And you were an interesting person, and then randomly I would hear you on podcasts. I would hear you talking. I think I heard you with Jay Moore, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And
sure.
And I was like, wow, like. I was like, I didn't know any sides of you. I didn't know anything of what you were doing at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, I really want to talk to him. And so I've been hitting you up for, I think, a few years now.
Yeah,
trying to organize this. But I appreciate you coming, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I know we've been trying to do it for a while. I think the first thing was you were on a long-ass tour. Then it was filming, or it was one of those in that order, or not necessarily in that order. And then I was gone for a long time, and then I moved. And now I get here every month to do Adam and Drew and Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla show. So it's become easier. But then you were like, I'm going to leave for 6 months and go on a comedy tour, which is great.
Yeah.
But you're never home.
So are you still working with The Art of Charm?
No, I'm not.
So what happened with The Art of Charm?
So I was doing that show for 11 years.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to take it in the way of like interviewing people, doing really good content. And the guys that I was working with, honestly, they didn't give a rat's ass about any of that. They were just like, let's make money, let's squeeze the audience, let's teach, pick-up tactics. And I was like, guys, we're pushing 40. One of the guys was like 43. I was like, it's just sad now. We serve our audience better by teaching them mature stuff. We have a lot of women listening, and it was just kind of like fell on deaf ears, and it was like, we don't care about that or the audience at all. And I was like, I can't do this. I got to sleep at night. Well, I don't need.
I heard you talking about 3 different types of people one time, I think, with Jay Moore. This is a while ago.
Yeah.
And Jay and I don't talk, but if I check out his podcast from every now and then. And I was fucking fascinated. I was in Australia, and I was fascinated at your breakdown of people and everything. So I kind of wanted to have you on the podcast.
Sure.
For you to introduce yourself to my fans. Like almost like in the most rudimentary way. Just you to just do you. Like if you said, Bert, I want you to come on my podcast, give me your 5 best stories and just murder and just leave and get a bunch of people to follow you. That's what I wanted, because I was like, awesome. I've heard you a bunch of times, and I was like, I'm not equipped to interview you in the way that like say Jay was or Adam was, or like, but I was like, I know this guy's podcast gold, and I know he's a fucking fascinating dude. So let's start off by, how did you get to The Art of Charm, where I first initially met you? Yeah,
so what I was doing, I was a lawyer on Wall Street for a while, and that, I don't say, people always go, oh, fancy. Dude, I was so not cut out for that. I went to law school because I didn't know what else to do with my life, which is a terrible reason to go into a profession. And I realized that all the things that got me there were basically like table stakes on Wall Street. So it's like, oh, you're kind of smart. So what? Everyone's smart. Oh, you can work really hard. So what? Everyone's working 20 hours a day, 6 days a week. Like you're nobody. Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to get fired from this job. So I found what I hoped was a new competitive advantage in that there was a partner there that never showed up, and he's one of the guys that hired me. And I was like, hey, how do I work from home a lot? Because I assumed he worked from home, and that's why he was never in the office. And he's like, I don't know why. And I was like, well, aren't you working from home? And he goes, no, I bring in business. That's why I'm not in the office. And I was like, oh, how do you bring in business? Like, I just never thought about networking and relationships. He's like, you got to know people, you got to make connections. And so I decided to dedicate myself to learning that. And it was like, I took a class, like a Dale Carnegie class, and it's like, look him in the eye and have a firm handshake. And I thought, okay, but if somebody doesn't like you, it's probably not because of your eye contact. It's probably not because you didn't have a firm handshake. Like, there's some weird thing, like this nuanced thing that a guy in a sweater vest at the YMCA is not going to articulate very well, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, he's great if you're trying to get your mom to, like, stand up in front of a room of 12 and give a little PowerPoint presentation. He's not going to tell me how to get people to like me in a way that's going to, like, save my Wall Street career.
Yeah.
So I started reading books on psychology and body language and nonverbal communication. I was like, I'm going to decode all of this. I have to start from the very, very beginning of this. And that got me interested in, like, this sort of burgeoning dating and pickup scene that was before this book, The Game, came out, before these TV shows came out. We were all kind of like this underground group of weirdos on the internet. And I was fascinated by this because it was every little nuanced detail of persuasion and influence. And I went out and I tried all this stuff, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. Because a lot of the guys that were in that scene were like in LA, going to clubs. I was in Michigan in a grad school in like this academic town. So some of the stuff that just worked on dumb club girls was not going to work on smart, educated women in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the University of Michigan. So I started to refine the tactics a lot. And I also realized that a lot of this lie to get chicks was just short-term thinking. It was not going to work long-term for me, wanting to get married, have kids, have a career. This short-term mating strategy was not going to work. So I started doing like academic almost research and getting in touch with professors that like David Buss, who were teaching mating strategies, and all these doctors and all of these like really high-profile researchers, and breaking down everything they were doing. And I started to apply it to networking and relationships, but then none of my guy friends gave a shit about the networking stuff. They were just like, how do we get laid?
Oh, yeah.
So I started talking about that. And I remember I tried to teach a networking class in law school, and like 2 people came, and one of them was like my advisor. And I was like, okay, this isn't going to work. And I remember going out at night, having conversations with guys and girls and friends of mine about body language and dating and stuff, and like the whole bar would like turn the music off, and I ended up kind of almost giving informal talks at these bars. And I thought, okay, this is the shit that people are interested in. So I started a podcast that was, in my old show, was based on that stuff, and I started teaching guys how to meet girls. And then of course, you know, that went really well, and the show got huge. But as I grew out of my 20s, I'm 39 now. As I grew out of my 20s, I was like, this is not really what I want to keep doing. And there's a bigger picture here that makes more sense. And then at that same time, a lot of the sort of pickup artisty stuff got uber skeezy and became like borderline like rapey, weird shit that guys would do, where I was just like, no thanks. And I tried to be all like, oh, we don't do that here, but you're just the good guy coke dealer instead of the bad guy heroin dealer, right? Like, women and men who are not into that aren't like, oh, your stuff is really good and all these other guys are really creepy. They're just like, y'all are creepy. They're not trying to parse this shit.
Yeah. And I remember hearing things like, I remember my buddy showed up one day in a ridiculous hat. Yeah. And I go, what the fuck? And he goes, dude.
Peacocking, bro.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what he said. Yeah. You got it. Come on, man.
Peacocking.
You got to peacock. You got to fucking, dude, trust me. Show up in the crazy hat. You're the guy that leaves with a hot chick.
Yeah, but not right. Not really. And like maybe sometimes, but probably only in like a Hollywood venue. Yeah. Otherwise, you're just that guy. And now, of course, you're just that D-bag who read like some blog post that's 10 years old and is like just gotten the memo on this.
Peacocking, bro.
Yeah. And it sucks, right? It sucks to be painted in that brush. And no girl who is seriously looking for anything that's not ridiculous, no one's going to take you seriously.
No.
And now it's bizarre. So, but then of course I'd fallen honestly in love with the craft of like interviewing people, and I would have celebrities on the show, and I realized that was the part that I really liked. And so I could really separate the interviewing and the podcasting. And that's what I have with the Jordan Harbinger show. And then I can do some of the training and teaching in a totally different realm. So I'm not teaching the dating stuff anymore, but when I teach social dynamics, body language, influence, and persuasion, like my clients now are Facebook and Microsoft and the bodyguards of the executives. We call them executive protection of those executives. So like Facebook's executive team, Microsoft's executive team.
Wait, slow down.
Yeah.
Say that again.
So like, imagine the people that are running Facebook, Microsoft, and these Silicon Valley companies.
Yeah.
They have personal protections, executive protection teams. So people that are with them 24/7. We call them bodyguards, like the layman, but we don't really use that term in the industry because it's just kind of not diving in front of bullets.
Yeah.
But
what do they do? What do they do?
So those guys, they handle the logistics. They make sure that the principal and clients are safe. They get them from point A to point B. They secure the office. They secure the house. Everything that you would expect, except it's not like there's nobody diving in front of Whitney Houston. Hopefully we don't get to that point.
Yeah.
And so their biggest weakness as an organization, as an agency, is going to be soft skills because they're all former Marines, former Special Forces, Secret Service. But what they now don't have is authority. So if you're Secret Service and you're there with the vice president, you can walk into a hotel and be like, yeah, we need this lobby cleared, get everybody out of here. You're flashing your badge and they're like, oh, okay. You have real law enforcement, DOJ, whatever, Treasury authority. Whereas now you're a civilian. You walk into the Mandarin Oriental or the Four Seasons, you're like, we need the lobby cleared. The manager's like, I don't give a shit. I don't care what you want. Yeah. Oh, who's your client? Well, I can't tell you. Well, get the hell out of here, schmuck. Like, get out of here. So we have to teach them how to be persuasive, influential, do the groundwork, keep relationships, network. They want all of those skills. So I took all that dating stuff and I was like, how do I make this useful for guys that aren't just trying to get their dick wet all the time?
Yeah.
And that's what we created with the new company. And then of course now I just do the show. The Jordan Harbinger show has got a similar sort of soft skills bent, but I'll interview anyone from Russell Brand or other comedians and actors, and I have athletes on there and scientists and stuff like that. So I took the nerd part, kept that, and just do like deep interviews with those people as well.
What do you think made you interested in like I understand the initial lean into kind of social skills.
Yeah, being
but
a big
what do you
nerd.
think fascinates you about it?
You know what I didn't realize was, so as a kid I was shy, and then as an adult I had these waves where I felt like I was awesome and then waves where I felt really insecure, and they were never predictable. Like it would be like junior year of high school, feeling really good about myself. Senior year of high school, feeling shy again. Moved to another country, feeling pretty cool, reinvented myself. Go to college, feel like a freaking loser again. And I was really upset with that because I thought, I don't want my whole life to be this bullshit roller coaster of like, I felt like I had no agency, no control over anything at all. Mm-hmm. And I, of course, first started out trying to do networking for the legal profession. Yeah. And then I went into like getting laid, and that made me feel good temporarily. And I was like, all right, well, this is not really what I'm after, because the validation I get from women is not going to like sustain me as a human for a long time. So as I exited my 20s, I was like, this isn't really what I want to do. I don't want to go to bars every night and like chase women. This is stupid. I want something bigger. And so I realized that by learning how to generate confidence, be persuasive, without being like, I need to wear a funny hat, but really working on myself, I should say, that was giving me actual enjoyment. I realized, you can change who you are in a way that's not fake. You can work on all the things that you don't like about yourself and work and make those into strengths, and people will appreciate that about you. And if you're really looking to get a quality partner in life or a woman, what you need to do is bring them into a world where you have your shit together. Not just be like, yeah, my Ferrari outside, blah, 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 stripper girlfriend. Like that works for super short term, maybe people that have their head up their ass. But if you want somebody who's got their shit together, you have to actually be that person too. And so that became, I won't say a fun process because it's really introspective and you got to look at yourself and go, I do a lot of shit to get other people's approval, or I do a lot of stuff that makes me feel bad about myself and then try to hide it. You have to get rid of all that stuff and work on that really deliberately, and it's not easy.
So what's the first step in getting your shit together if you had to say to someone?
Ooh,
if someone's listening and they're going like, because like as you said that, I was like, there's problems I have with myself hardcore. I look people in the eye when I shake their hand, but I do that. I never read a book about it. I just know that it makes. I know that I shake a lot of hands, maybe a couple thousand a weekend.
Really? At every show?
Yeah, probably a couple thousand. Like if because I do a meet and greet, but then I also go out to a bar where I tell all the fans to go.
Yeah,
and then we drink, and I And yeah, I mean, figure 1,800 seats, 2 shows, that's one night. And then I invite all those people to a bar. So maybe 1,500 show up, and then next night 500. So maybe 1,500, 2,000 people.
Do you tell the bar? How do you arrange that? This is logistical BS that probably no one cares about. But I'm curious. Are you like, hey, I'm bringing 500 people to your bar tomorrow? Show up. They must love you and also be like, hey, you couldn't throw us a phone call.
Some people, everyone's loved it. I've had people that have been a little angry. Like it's usually women bartenders that. This is going to sound super sexist, but I've had a couple women bartenders really pissed that we filled up their bar because they just wanted to go home. They didn't give a fuck about the business. Male bartenders and owners lose their fucking mind.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, thank you.
You paid the rent for the whole month in this one night.
Yeah, and for the most part, I'm only talking about a few isolated incidents. And they were in cities where that is the attitude of all the people in those cities.
Yeah,
you know,
so
like, dude, get the fuck out of my city.
Yeah.
Dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like Boston, this fucking female bartender. And I tipped her $600. And she was still fucking... I usually tip them really big, too.
Yeah,
and go like, hey, I'm sorry I fucked your night. These are all my people. But yeah, everyone's been cool. And when we went to this place, I have the name of the fucking... Connolly's in South Carolina. Connolly's. I think
there's a Connolly's everywhere, I would imagine. Something of that nature.
And it was fucking amazing. It was awesome. We told everyone from the shows to go. Packed that place out, and the owner was losing his fucking mind. He was like, what do you guys want? You guys want fucking sweatshirts, drinks, close the bar off? I got you the upstairs. He was the best. Usually that's how everyone acts.
Yeah, you would think, yeah.
And sometimes there have been a few women that weren't having it. Yeah, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. Who are you? And I go, it doesn't matter. I'm the guy that brought 1,000 people to your bar.
I have a blue check mark on Instagram. Yeah. That's all you need to know.
Who are you? Why do you think you're so special? What do you want? Double Tito's and soda in a big glass, no lime. I don't know what the couple isolated incidents, and they almost looked alike. There's a part about whittling down people. Do you ever look at people and go, I can size you up in a matter of seconds?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the things that I teach these executive protection, these bodyguards. We'll use that term because nobody cares about the fancy pants terminology. That's one of the things I teach those guys as well, guys and gals, actually. They have female agents, super common. You look at nonverbal communication, and there are little tells that people, because everybody thinks they make their first impression when they open their mouth, and that's what I thought for years. That's not actually the case. So when somebody walks in a room, that's usually when people size them up. And if you don't believe, actually, women will know this really, really keenly. They'll go, yeah, I looked at him when he walked in and I got a pretty full picture of who this was. Us guys are kind of more oblivious, and we'll notice someone half an hour later and be like, whatever. You know, we kind of feel it subconsciously, but women generally can really articulate what they're seeing much better than men can. And this is evolutionary. Women have a safety concern that guys don't. So women have to be able to go, that guy, something's a little incongruent about that guy, or this guy's no threat, or I'm not really sure what I like about this guy. Or they're like, oh, I'm attracted to this person, I'm not sure why. And then it's yours to kind of screw up. Men, on the other hand, we are a little bit more blunt instrument. We might go, scary person. And that might be all that we got. But we don't know why. We don't really get why.
Fat.
Or, fat. And honestly, if you're not used to looking at this and you think, I'm not judgy, I don't judge people. Walk it through a mall, walk down a street, and you'll be like, attractive, fat, child, funny, scary. Like, your brain does this. This is how we've survived for however long we have without getting crushed by everything.
Yeah.
And so if we listen to those impressions, and then we also look at people's lower half of their body, the way that they walk, like, you can tell a lot by someone's gait. In fact, creepy anecdote, I think it was Ted Bundy, now that I think about it, he was interviewed about who would make a good victim, and he's like, I can just tell by the way someone walks if they're going to be a good victim. And they look at serial killers and they're like, yep, can tell by the way that this person walks, they're going to be a good victim.
So serial killers are probably the best at sizing people up.
They're really good. Psychopaths are really good at this because they have no, and this is not clinical, so somebody who's a doctor or psychologist will correct me here, but they don't have a lot of interference when it comes to, oh, well, this person's probably nice, or they look like that. They just kind of predator mode, reptile brain go, that person can't defend themselves. And it's like second nature for them to look at that and do that.
Well, it's interesting. I draw in. I've always drawn in narcissists
As relationship partners?
Not my wife, obviously, and
Yeah, she's
current group of friends. But in the past, I would draw in people that were clearly out of their fucking mind. Like the way they would behave, they would take liberties with you that were egregious. And they were narcissists. I think now I know they're narcissists.
Yeah.
But I might talk to Stanhope about it one night at Johnny Depp's house. We were just bullshitting, and we were talking about past relationships of and who you draw in. And I had to be very cognizant of the types of people that I brought to me. The people that found me a good fit as a friend.
Yeah.
And I literally shut down entirely with making friends because I was fucking up so much.
Was it guys and girls that you were bringing into your life that were narcissists?
It was across the board. I had a girlfriend at a point that was clearly emotionally and just across the board unstable, and 100% a narcissist. 100%. I don't want to go into too much detail because I just recently realized that just because someone wronged you in your life, that doesn't give you the liberties to just go and trash them for the rest of your life. You should get past it, forgive them, and realize all your flaws that you brought to that relationship. But it wasn't. I mean, if we're going to be very, very honest, I had such an issue with making friends that Rogan pulled me aside and was like, he had a shot of whiskey and a beer, and he was like, "Hey man, we're trying to be your friend, and you're not letting us be your friend." I was like,
wow.
I was like, yeah, I don't do that
built
anymore.
A wall
I just
up.
built a wall up, where I was like, I'll be nice to you when I see you, but I'm not going to be your friend. I don't want to be anyone's friend. I'm done with friends. And so I wonder if that goes two ways. Tell me something about narcissism. Do you know anything about narcissism?
Yeah, actually, I had a retired FBI agent on the show. His name is Joe Navarro, and he helped create the behavioral analysis program at the FBI back in, I don't want to make him feel old, but like in probably the 80s or maybe even earlier than that now.
Yeah.
And he wrote a book. I wish I could remember the title. He's written a bunch of books. I read it recently, and I interviewed him about this on the show. He points out different levels of like narcissism and predatory behavior.
Because I think I'm part narcissist. I think my wife calls me a soft narcissist, and that I happen to think about myself a lot, as opposed to thinking of other people. Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's a difference between being a narcissist and being selfish and being somebody who's focused on yourself. There's a huge chasm between, or a spectrum anyway.
Yeah.
Because a narcissist might be somebody who's like, well, somebody who's self-focused might be like, yeah, I'm thinking about myself, I'm thinking about my career, and your wife might be like, when are we going to go on vacation as a family or something like some weird.
Or hey, we're at dinner. Stop mouthing jokes in your head. Like I'll be at dinner and I'll just be going, like doing a joke.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, hey, dial in. And I'm like, huh? I don't even know I'm doing it.
That has to do with, so you're not being present in that moment, which is like forgivable. You're probably obsessed with comedy, I would guess.
Yeah.
You're obsessed with the craft of comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty normal. And it's, I would say it's not look, I don't have dinner with you and your family, but like, although I wouldn't say no to the invitation, I don't think that's narcissism. Narcissism, especially to the nth degree, when you're talking about like pathological, according to specialists like Joe Navarro, is when somebody is essentially unable to focus on other people because they're so self-focused. Like I would imagine when you go to a sporting event with your kids or something like that, you're hanging out with your kids and you're like, hey guys, you want a hot dog? You want some popcorn? You want a drink? You're not like running around the stadium, leaving them there alone and like getting drunk on your own because you're trying to hang out with the athletes or something like that. Like that's narcissism.
No, but I've dated that.
You've dated that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's narcissism for real. And there is a spectrum of this, so it can be a little softer.
Wow,
but being
I've dated that.
Being a soft narcissist is not somebody who's not present. Being a narcissist is somebody who leaves you alone somewhere else and goes and hangs out with celebrities because they had the chance to do it, and they weren't thinking, I'll explain this to Bert later, he'll understand. They were just kind of like, I don't give it. They weren't even thinking about you, and they're actually surprised. Let me guess. Your ex-girlfriends were surprised that you were so pissed off that they did all this crazy selfish shit.
Wait,
they didn't understand it.
You should come with us. We're all gonna go, and you're like, I'm done. I'm wrapped. That was a chick I was in and out of before we had sex. I just caught it so fast, and I was like, oh wait. I was no longer in your realm.
Yeah.
Like I was just some guy that drove you there in your head, and you're like, huh? What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I forgot.
That's why narcissism, especially like clinical narcissism, it's not like, wow, you're deliberately making me feel bad by ignoring me. And I drove you here and we're on a date. I can't believe you did that. And you're just thinking this person's really selfish. In their head, they're almost completely blindsided by the idea that they should have been spending that time with their kids instead of like worried about looking cool or being famous or chasing a woman somewhere. And narcissists that are in relationships, they often do things like go off with somebody else while they're with their partner because that person is more interesting to them and can do more for them. And then when their partner's like, hey, you ditched us at Disneyland, they're just like, well, I saw Johnny Depp, so of course why are you mad? You're being weird. And you're like, wait, am I being weird?
This is about my career.
And they gaslight you, and they make you think that you're the crazy one for being upset that you had to spend the day at Disneyland with your kids alone while they were like off drinking with a producer.
Yeah, that makes total fucking sense. Yeah, so is there something about like, say you have a weird gait and serial killers are attracted to you. How do you notice that and change it before, or say myself, like you find yourself attracting a certain type of person. I don't like confrontation, and I think narcissists love people who don't like confrontation.
Yeah, I think narcissists probably, I don't know if they like people who don't like confrontation as much as those are the people that end up with narcissists for a longer period of time. Because there's probably...
That's it.
Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Probably a lot of narcissists where they're like let's say I met the same girl that you dated that was a narcissist. I might meet her, talk to her for 5 minutes and go, okay, this bitch, no thank you.
Yeah.
Whereas you're just kind of like, I don't know. I mean, she's cute, so whatever. Maybe you're not attuned to that, or maybe you're bringing that into your life in some way. Like, I don't want to get too personal, but maybe someone in your family was like that, or maybe there were people that tolerated that shit in your family.
I don't know.
Or there was an experience that you had when you were younger that caused you to pick those. Is this one person that you dated, or do you have like a narcissist string?
No, I had a few good friends, like guy friends, that were out of their fucking minds and would do things where you're like, fucking. And in a weird way, it was things you would never allow, and then you allowed it, and then you're like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And then you just had to break up with them. And then, then I still have some of them come in and out of my life, at times, and you keep everyone at arm's distance a little bit, but then you hang out with them a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, they're back in.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the crazy shit happens again, and you're like, motherfucker, I knew that. And my biggest problem, and I was talking the other night. We were talking about doing jujitsu, and I was saying to someone, my problem is I have a problem with confrontation. I don't like confronting people, and I don't know if that's going to be. I don't know how that's going to allow. I don't know how that's going to translate in me physically grabbing something, fighting with. I don't like fighting. I don't like arguing. I don't like. There's a lot of things I don't like that I've just set myself up in a life where I don't have to deal with it.
Then BJJ is probably really good for you, because you get to be in pseudo manufactured conflict with somebody that's in a controlled situation, and you'll get to look, I hate to be all like BJJ is a metaphor for life, but I've heard so much about that being the case. And when I did martial arts when I was younger, I was also like, oh, I don't push people around. I'm not a bully. And it's like, well, you're sparring. You do it. And you get over that. And then when somebody does push back on you in real life, you're kind of like, oh, I probably shouldn't stand for this. And I know I shouldn't stand for this. And in the past, I have stood for this, and it's resulted in bad outcomes for me. So maybe I will actually try pushing back, because when I did that in this other area of my life, like jiu-jitsu, I'm supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And I have confidence being able to do that. I get not wanting to push back and not wanting to be confrontational. There's a lot of people that aren't confrontational, though, that also don't stand for narcissistic behavior. They just avoid it,
That's
right?
what I do. I think I just, if I sent, nowadays, if I sent something out, I just fucking die. You're done. Like I just, oh yeah. Cool. Just circumnavigate it.
Interesting. So you don't do conflict, but you will avoid it, and then those people wonder like, what happened to Bert? I thought we were friends.
A lot of people have asked. Yeah, a lot of people.
Huh.
I was talking to Nick Swartzen last night about, there's so many people that have given me their phone number and been like, dude, we should hang out. And I was like,
Is that why this show took 4 or 5 years to schedule?
No.
Like fucking Jordan.
First of all, I am so bad at replying to people. That's a fucking thing that I wish I could fix about myself. Is I do not. Simon Rex was with Nick Swartzen. I'm not name dropping at all, but
no,
Simon,
I mean, this is your industry. It makes sense.
Simon was, and me and Nick were together, and I said something about. We were talking about, and I said, yeah, I don't reply to people. Like people give me their number and they'll text me, and I'll just be like, and I'll read it, but I won't reply. And Simon goes, yeah, I'm well aware of that. And I went, how do you know that? And he goes, because you got to take the thing off your Instagram where I know that you've read it. And I went, you know that I've read your messages?
It's like seen, and you're like, thanks, Bert.
I was like, he's like, bro, you read my message like 4 weeks ago and you haven't replied? I was like, yeah, sometimes I read it and I get the information and I'm done. But yeah,
like, how many unread texts do you have right now?
Simon just texted me on Instagram, on Twitter, and he says, looks like you did it again. I'm just going to give you my number. I'm fucking horrible. I'm horrible about replying to people. What can you do to make me a better businessman? Like take me to the next level. My flaws and eccentricities, and like I can shake a hand and look someone in the eye. I'm got that.
Yeah.
I'm good at entering a room. I'm good at getting people to like me.
Yeah.
But what are the most obvious shortcomings that you see where you go, this is what you can do to fucking fix your business?
It's so funny. You are good at getting people to like you, and then when they do, you're like, crap, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
You got it, dude. I was like that with. I have weird intimacy issues. I have very weird intimacy.
But you're
issues.
married.
Yeah.
And you have kids.
My wife. Oh, this defines me. I feel like I'm in therapy right now.
Yeah.
I met my wife at I'd seen her a bunch. She was I was in love with her. First time I saw her, I was like, she's gorgeous. She looked younger then, but she was gorgeous, and I had like kind of flirted with her a couple times, but she was a cunt, and so I was like,
really?
I love cunts.
She probably just went, this is going to be one of those guys that jerks me around and doesn't answer my text messages. Or phone calls or whatever.
100%. And so then we went bowling and we hung out. We had a great time. And she was like, you should, I'll give you my number. We should hang out sometime. As soon as she said that, I went, pass.
Wow.
The second she said that, I was like, I'm dealing with the whore.
Oh, man.
That's the way my brain works. I know this is broken brain talk, and I know that people are going to be like, what? Literally, the second she gave me her number, I was like, she fucks a lot of dudes. She does this a lot.
Self-worth issues. That's what that is.
Is
it? Yeah.
Oh, I have hardcore self-worth issues. And then she called my roommate and said, hey, I gave Bert my number. How come he hasn't called me? And he goes, I don't know. He's right here. Why don't you ask him?
Dang, thrown under the bus by the roommate. That was good, though.
Yeah. And so I got on the phone and I was like, hello. She was like, hey, I gave you my number. What's up? And I was like, nothing. I just got back from spin class. She was like, well, you said you wanted to do something. Are we going to do something? I mean, then she said, if you ask me out, I'll say yes. And I was like, do you want to go out? She was like, yes. I go, when? And she goes, when do you want to go out? And I was like,
take the lead, damn it.
Yeah. And
Bert.
I told her, and I took her on a date, and we had a fucking blast. And I told her that night, here's the deal. I don't fuck people on the first night. Like, I'm not like that kind of person. I'm a little more reserved. And she was like, huh? And I was like, you just want to have sex, right? And she was like, oh my God, who the fuck do you think I am? And I was like, you're a whore, right?
You did not say
I don't know if I said that exactly, but trust me when I say that definitely came out that night. And she was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, I was so turned off from like the Hollywood scene and the way things worked.
Is that when you were living here already?
I was living here. Yeah, I was living in the fucking hills. I was in the Hollywood scene.
Oh wow.
And she was like, no. And then we hung out a little bit, and then I think she fell in love with me first. I fell in love with her very quickly, but I didn't say anything, and then she fell in love with me first. But I am like that. Like, if I give you my number, like, this is a perfect example. I gave a bunch of people my number last night, and they all texted me, and I don't know what to text back. Like, I don't know.
Interesting.
Like,
what? Let me ask this. It's not just that you don't know what to text back. I mean, you know how to have a conversation with somebody. Yeah. What's going through your head when you go pick up that phone and you look at that text? What exactly are you worried about? Because it's not like you don't know what to say. You're trying to elicit an outcome, and you don't know how to get that outcome. What's the outcome you want?
My only outcome I ever want is people like me. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. That's very honest.
Yeah.
I was going to say it for you, but then I didn't want to be a dick.
No,
you
yeah.
weren't going to say that.
Yeah, I want people like
So you want people to like you, and you're afraid that whatever you type is not going to get that response, so you avoid it.
I've had a lot. I think maybe I've had an abnormal amount of moments where I type something that I find very funny, and people don't get it.
I bet you that if you counted those times, and then you looked at how few they actually were, and then you looked at the outcome, and instead of magnifying how negative it was in your head, you thought, yeah, we took like an honest look at it. Somehow, if we somehow could display this out on a display, right, we'd find it doesn't happen that often, and when it did, it mostly was a joke that fell flat. Almost probably nobody's like, that Bert guy's so mean, I can't believe it. I'm not hiring him for my kid's birthday party or this giant show. Like, it never really cost you anything. It probably never really cost you anything. In your head, you thought, this person hates me now and I look like an ass. That probably happened maybe once, if it ever happened at all.
I had a run in with there's a perfect example. I had a run in with an agent who was being I would say forward. I wouldn't say aggressive. I'd say forward about business decisions I was making. He wasn't my agent.
Oh, okay.
But he was being forward about business decisions I was making, and implying that I was making the incorrect decisions, and that with his help I would make correct decisions. And it was when I say I'd say aggressive only because it was very long texts. You can move that as much as you need to.
Okay, I didn't want to make
no, you can move it. No, it's fucking, who gives a fuck? And so I just didn't reply. I just didn't reply at all. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to reply.
This is the confrontation thing, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. My best friend is a comedian, Tom Segura.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's all over the place.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's really large, so that happens.
Dr. Drew had him on.
Yeah, and so... yeah. And so... Segura had the same interaction with another agent, and he showed it to me, and his replies were so fucking awesome. I was like, I could never have written that. He replied in such a great passive-aggressive way back that I was like, fuck. And then with emojis, like, he's so good at emojis.
Oh,
like,
yeah. I'm jealous of people's emoji game, too. They get like an eggplant and a splash, and I'm like,
yeah,
that does look like a dick.
Yeah, I'm like, motherfucker. I just don't reply.
Yeah, I could see that. So you go, tell me if this is true.
Yes.
You look at things and you think about the interaction in your head, which is really common among comedians because you guys are always delivering material and practicing it and thinking about how it's going to go. And if you don't like the outcome that you think about in your head, you just don't engage in it at all. How close am I?
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of people I don't reply to because I just don't. The outcome is not worth the replying. It's the same with Twitter. I don't post things on Twitter. That there was this thing. There was anything fucking. Like I saw there was a. Did you see the four-handed condom box yesterday?
No, I did not. I looked at your Twitter just on the way here too. I didn't see it.
No. I didn't reply because I don't want to deal with shit. So like, there's these Argentinian marketing company came up with a condom box that needs. It's called a not compliance condom. Consent condom. So you need 4 hands to open the box. So it would suggest that you and your partner open it together to put so that if the condom is then used, that obviously there was consent. It's so problematic. Like, as soon as I read that, I was like, all right, first of all, I mean, I came up with so many scenarios to tweet about that.
Yeah.
And then I was like, it's not worth it. It's not worth the outcome is
Like too controversial?
Yeah, and I just go, it's not worth tweeting. I don't mind talking about it on stage. I don't mind figuring out the bit and writing it. But like, it's like, but that's how I feel with texts.
It's funny because it seems like the same thing that makes you really good at crafting and delivering comedic material in a special, on stage, etc., is pretty much exactly the same thing that keeps you from having normal conversations with people in real life.
Yeah.
On your phone.
I'll tell you the texts I have right now that I won't reply to. Fucking all of these. All the DMs.
Do you mark them as read, or you just kind of skip them? Or you read them first?
I don't know. I wish I could make it so people didn't know I read their texts.
Oh, yeah. I mean, text you can. On Instagram, you can't.
On text, I don't know how to do that. But like, yours isn't on. Mine isn't on?
No read receipts?
Oh, for real? Oh, nice.
So you're getting away with that. Just not on Instagram.
Well, Josh Adam Myers just texted. This is a perfect example. I was looking for an example. I saw this, and I didn't qualify it as an example, but this is a perfect fucking example. Josh Adam Myers just texted me. By the way, look, these are all his texts.
Oh, wow.
So he's very comfortable texting me.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could be like that.
He's probably wondering why you never reply.
It starts off with, "Hey, buddy, sorry to bug you. Checking if you can do my main room show next Tuesday at the store. Let me know either way. I need a..." Okay. Main room store. See, okay. Now, here's another thing I do. So, I read that, and then I just get out of it. Because I go, I got to do some thinking about that. I can't just...
Sure. But you don't really want to do the thinking about it. You just want it to go away, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want it to go away.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. It's like getting an email from the IRS, and you're just like, I don't really... Or maybe not an email, like a letter. You're like, I don't want to handle that. It's like a bill.
Yeah.
You just think, my life would be better if I didn't have this sitting on my kitchen table. With a bill, you know you have to pay it because you know there are consequences. With a text, you can kind of go, there's not going to be consequences that I really have to deal with. Like, I'll probably see him at a show, and we'll have a beer, and we'll be cool, so then this won't matter anymore. So you're kind of like, that's a problem for future Bert. I don't really envy that guy. Right?
Yeah. That's exactly how I am.
Yeah.
I don't reply to any fucking emails. Dude, you want to see something that'll give you anxiety?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have...
Your 116,000 unread emails?
It is 58,000.
That's a lot of emails unread.
58,000 unread emails. I put something up online of a conversation I had with me and my daughter. Mm-hmm. It was a text thing, and Whitney Cummings just hit me up and goes, "Oh my God, how many unread texts do you have?"
Oh, because she could see
it on my thing.
Yeah.
And because I'll see it, and if I don't want to deal with it, I just don't read it. Because I don't know if people can see that I've read it or not. So I just don't even read it.
Do you reply to anybody's text? Like your wife must text you, and you're like, okay.
I reply. Oh, yeah. See, I would like to be able to reply to text. Like there's a group of my friends called the Campers. We're like 4 families. I reply to their texts, and I can say whatever the fuck I want. I say horrible fucking shit, and Tom Segura, me, Tom, Ari, and Joe are in a text that I reply. I can say whatever the fuck I want there. Mm-hmm. I wish I could do what I do with my close friends to everyone, but I don't. I just don't.
Yeah, I mean that's really normal.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It's really normal. I would say that you're taking it to a higher degree by ignoring a lot of people that you actually like. But I get that you have anxiety about that stuff. That's pretty normal. The way that you're handling it is like probably not ideal for you and them. But it's not. Look, it's not like when you get that, you start doing some unhealthy. You don't like start drinking when you get a text message or
what about
turn
this?
Your phone off.
What about this? No, but I got diagnosed with social anxiety disorder when I was like 20, 29, 28.
Wow, that's so late.
Well, you know what though? I think it's inaccurate because the woman said to me, I was just like I'm telling you right now about texting.
Yeah.
My big thing then was if someone called and I didn't want to talk to them, I didn't answer the phone. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, no, you're supposed to answer the phone when someone calls. And I go, no. And I was like, isn't it possible that what is now happening is we are in a world where it's so invasive that there's so much, people have so much access to you that the way a human was created back in the day.
Sure.
Where it was like, even before telephones, where I'm just trying to hold on to a grasp of that.
Sure, that's completely normal. Yeah, if she diagnosed you with social anxiety disorder because you don't answer the phone when it rings, then every single person who has a cell phone has social anxiety disorder.
It was at the beginning of the height of cell phones.
Yeah, that's
everyone and I was like, no, there's a lot of times I like, if I see a friend and I go, not taking that.
Yeah, no,
and she was like, no, you should be answering the phone.
No,
that's what I told her. She was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no,
she
that's
wanted me to
ridiculous.
get on Zoloft, and I was like,
for the phone?
Yeah.
Hell no.
I was like, I'm not getting on Zoloft because I don't like talking to people on the phone.
No, that's actually irresponsible of her. I'm not a doctor, but that's completely ridiculous. More than half the calls I get now are people, first of all, unknown number, not getting it at all. And if it's a friend of mine that I know wants to chat, and they're the kind of person who calls when they have time and they want to like go deep dive on something, I won't answer it because otherwise the conversation is, hey, what's up? Good to hear from you. I can't talk right now. I'll call you later. And then I just forget. If I leave the missed call on there, then I'll call them back when I have time.
Yeah.
Somebody diagnosing you with social anxiety purely based on that is completely ridiculous. Also, it doesn't make a ton of sense for somebody who stands up in front of thousands of people to have social anxiety disorder. Now, it is possible because there's plenty of people that can perform but can't interact one-on-one.
Yeah.
You're also not that person.
Yeah, I'm not. That lady was a fucking quack.
Yeah, that's super Quackville.
Yeah.
That's super
All right,
quack.
tell me more shit.
Sure. I need a prompt. I'm never good at this whole, like, write a paper about anything you want. That was never my bag.
Tell me more about, like, I want to know about, I'm fascinated about sizing people up because I size people up very quickly.
Yeah.
And I would love to know more about kind of the people and the fucking tracks they fall into.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
The type of people, like I'm an extrovert. They have introverts, like that kind of shit. Like,
yeah, sure.
Like
archetypes of personalities.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe what we talked about with Jay Moore. I'm trying to remember because that was like a year or two ago.
It was a long time ago. It was definitely 2 years ago, I think. And I was fascinated by it. I was eating breakfast in a whatchamacallit. I wish I could remember what that conversation was, but I was fascinated by the archetypes of people that you run into, that like the types of people that like the type of person that would steal from someone, the type of person that would give things to someone, and then there's the type of person that would just avoid it altogether, like.
Yeah. I think what I talked about with Jay, and I'm going off like
I feel really bad talking about Jay because I haven't spoken to Jay in probably 9 years.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in 9 years.
I'll text him after this and be like,
please
you
don't
should call Bert Kreischer right now.
No, please do not. I have nothing wrong. I have no problems with Jay. I have no beef with Jay. But we used to be really good friends. We had a breakup. And,
I didn't know that.
It was very public. It was very public, and it was really horrible to go through. And then we both kind of just, we're on our own paths and very happy with it. And then I think he reached out once via Twitter, like, let's talk. But the problem is, I've changed so much from who I was then to who I am today that I don't know. Part of me goes, I don't know if it would vibe, and I'm good. Mm-hmm. Like I'm really happy right now. And at that time, I think our dynamic of our relationship was very, very different. Was very different. It was a lot more of like it was very complicated too, but yeah, and
did you relate mostly on like negative things or
no? It was it's really hard to talk about because I kind of just shut it off. Like I was having issues about it or not speaking. I started going to therapy about it, and then Joey Diaz found out that I was going to therapy about it, and was like, "Fuck that shit, dog. We have coffee every fucking day, and we talk this out until you're done with it." And then, and at the end, we talked for like a month. Every morning we'd have coffee. We didn't talk about that per se every day, but at the end of the month, he's like, sometimes you got to write shit off, dog. Sometimes you got to go, it didn't fucking work. It did. You know what? I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm just fucking done. I did that with cocaine. I just said, I'm fucking done. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And I just shut it off. It off. I didn't speak about him. I didn't talk about him. Like if his name came up, I kind of just was like, I shut off. And then when he reached out, I was like, just shut off. And that's kind of the way I shut it down. I was like, you know what? I have fond memories of us together. I don't think of the bad thing that, got us to not be friends. I think of the good times. I don't think of the bad things. I think of all the good times. I have good memories. I have fond memories. And I just go, we're in very different places in our lives. And I've fucking, my focus right now doesn't have a lot of room for anything new. Or going backwards. I don't, I tour like fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I do my podcast. I have
gone.
a tight knit group of friends that I stick around and I talk to and I hang out with, and I can't just. It's not in the cards for me right now.
That's very normal too. How old are you right now? I don't even
46.
know. Okay, so was this like a decade ago or something, or was it more?
It was right when I started Trip Flip. It was probably like maybe 10 years. No, not 10 years ago. Probably 8 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, and this is especially true for men, but as we get older, we actually make fewer friends. No surprise. I mean, that's pretty much everyone's experience. It only becomes a problem when, and you probably have guy friends like this too. A lot of guys our age, they have like no friends that they can talk to about anything.
Yeah.
And it's actually really has a lot of negative mental health consequences. And I honestly, like, all PSA, like, joking aside, if you are listening to this right now and you realize you don't have a lot of guy friends, just make sure that you're taking care of your emotional health, because there are a lot of our suicide rate at around our age is through the fucking roof.
I've had a lot of friends kill themselves
because we're lonely as hell. It's not unique to the comedy sphere. There are guys that are successful doctors and lawyers that are the loneliest people you'll ever meet because their career took precedence. They got a family. Maybe those circumstances have changed. Maybe they're not. But this from your chat groups with all those other guys. You need that outlet. Like, we need that outlet. Guys have to be able to bro out and vent and do this. Like you were talking before, when humans were first made, evolved this way. This is tribal stuff. We, hunting parties, going out. We have to have that outlet, or there's something missing from our psyche as men.
Yeah.
And it results in a lot of depression, and it results in a lot of negative emotional health consequences for guys. We deal with this a lot, as men.
I'm very grateful for, because Tom and I have always been close, but when Joe pulled me aside, he's like, "You need to because I just shut off." Mm-hmm. And I was very grateful for him saying, you got to let us be your friend.
Yeah.
Because I just was not. That's not the way my brain was at. I was like, I'm not good with friends. I don't need friends. I got my fucking family. That's my focus. My wife was the one that was like, we need friends that aren't in the industry. You need regular friends that aren't comics, because you're just turning into a very my sense of humor was so fucking dark, because my friends, I could say the most horrific things in the world to them, and my wife was noticing that happening in social scenes where I was like, fuck them, they don't get it. And my wife's like, no, you need a group of grounded friends also.
Yeah.
So I have two sets of friends. I have our school friends, kids are friends with.
Sure.
And then I have my comedian friends, and they're very different. Me and my school friends are all in a pot growing contest right now.
That's kind of cool.
We're all growing marijuana, so you can grow the best marijuana.
I saw those photos on your Instagram. Is that what you're
Yeah. And now my gardener's entered the contest because he thinks I'm a fucking idiot because I'm white. He said to me, he's like, why are you doing that? And I was like, well, I just thought it'd be fun. He goes, yeah, but that's my job. That's what I do. You can't grow marijuana. And I was like, yeah, I can. He's like, no, you can't even mow your lawn. He goes, let me do it for you. You're white. And I went, huh? I couldn't. What if I did that to you? What if I saw you working on your taxes on your car and I was like, oh, you should let me do that. You're Mexican, man. You can't do that. What a fucking horrific thing to say to me. But, in this society.
Yeah, you can be racist against white people right now.
I had to explain to my daughter that you couldn't be racist. She saw the interaction. she was like, that was crazy. And she goes, was he being racist? I go, no, you can't be racist to white people. I really don't think you can be racist to white people. You can commit a hate crime on white people, but you can't be really racist to me.
I think. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that. I think people can be racist to white people. It's just that we don't give a crap that much.
You just don't like us.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, you don't like white people?
Good luck getting through society.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's where you're gonna hang your hat, that you just don't like white people.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck getting a home loan. Good luck getting a fucking car. Good luck Good luck when you get an operation. Good luck. White people are fucking everywhere. You can't just go, I hate white people. I can't hate Mexicans. I love fucking margaritas. Like, I mean, I can't hate Mexicans. I love Mexican food. I love, dude, I was actually thinking about this today in my kitchen. I was like, obviously we have a maid, not a maid. We're not allowed to call her maid.
Oh, is that the thing? I don't even know now. Housekeeper?
She's not a housekeeper. She comes once a week. And I called her our maid, and my daughters lost their shit. They're like,
really?
She's not our maid. She's Sylvia. Call her Sylvia.
I don't even know these new rules, man.
Yeah, and so.
Wait till I have kids.
Well, what I thought is, it's got to be nice. This sounds fucking very privilegey, but it's got to be nice for her to be able to come to a house and work where no one's supporting Trump. Like, that would be fucked up. And then I thought, I bet there are maids in Texas.
Yeah.
And in LA where they go in and there's Trump shit everywhere, and they know fully that the people they're cleaning the house of want her and her family kicked out of this country, but yet they still have her cleaning their house. It was such a...
How do you reconcile that if
you're
one of those people? How do you
reconcile that at all? I mean, it's so crazy.
Yeah. You know... that's when you have your toilet cleaned and then they use the same cloth on like all of your countertops and cups.
I mean, it's so fucking mind-blowing to me. Racism blows me away. I'm talking about pure racism. I'm not talking about like I have a joke that I've been saying that's I can't figure out where to put it. I like the joke, but I'm not racist, but I can't throw a perfect game. Like, I'm gonna say fucked up shit every now and then. It's gonna happen. I have fucked up thoughts. I'm not perfect, but I'm definitely not racist. And I can't understand. That's why I say you can't be racist to white people. Good luck getting through life. I do think there are black people who just genuinely hate white people.
Definitely.
100%.
Oh my God. I used to be the only white guy at a place where I worked, and I saw that all the time. Not from my coworkers, just from other people around.
Just hate white people.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And there are people who just hate black people. I don't understand how you can get through life if you hated black people. Like, if you just hated black people, I don't understand. Your life has such blinders on it.
Yeah.
Where you can find enjoyment. If you didn't like Asian people, like, that's... I can understand. Our best friends are Vietnamese, like our legit best friends. Our families do everything together. I can't imagine just hating Asian people. You're married to
my wife is American, but her family's Taiwanese. It's just too much work to hate a whole group of people. It's actually just too much work, and it's fucking inconvenient.
Yeah.
So you have to be willing to like put in the work to be racist and ignorant. Back in the day, it was probably easier. Like, if you lived in a white neighborhood in Detroit and you went to school with some black kids and then you worked with some black people and you're like, oh, they're okay, but everybody else, blah, blah, blah. Like, my uncles are kind of like that sometimes. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, it's annoying, but they're kind of like, I get it. It's more like show off tough guy BS, but it was probably easier back then because you had limited contact. Now I'm one of the only white guys in my social circle because I'm married to an Asian woman, and then we hang out with all of our friends, and I live in Northern California, where I'm probably a minority anyway, if we really do the math. It's just too much work to isolate yourself. Like, there's too much work on the coasts to do that.
I think it's better when you just have level-headed friends that know there's no hate meant by anything you say. So if you say something a little off color, that you don't, it's like I said one time. at a dinner party, and it wasn't even a dinner party. It was Chinese New Year's. Made the flippant statement that I could beat any Asian in a foot race, and Like, obviously, well, it's based on the fact that, and by the way, I wish I could work this as a joke. It just is too aggressive of a story.
It doesn't sound that bad for some reason, though. I don't know. Probably because it's such a ridiculous level of comparison.
Oh, fuck Mark Norman. I love you, Mark Norman. But will you write that down, that Asian thing?
Yeah, Mark Norman. I know him.
Mark Norman
he's
the best. So, and then my buddy and I went out. My buddy and I went out and raced in the front yard, and I beat him. I beat him in a foot race, and we laughed so hard. And I was saying the most fucked up shit all night. I said to his wife, "Hey, Sandy, would you get me?" She's Asian. I go, "Would you get me a Tito's?" And you know what? I'll get it. It'll take you forever to get there. And so, but like, if you have level-headed friends, I can't imagine having some virtue signaling, progressive, fucking friend who you can't even fucking break balls with, or you can't.
It would be that stuff's super annoying, and I obviously there's plenty of backlash on that, both in California and in the nation as a whole. I mean, the backlash on that, and it is annoying because if you're that far on the left in virtue signaling, you actually can't win. So, like, if you're the most PC person in the world, there's going to be somebody who's just looking for like some weird microaggression, which is another sort of bullshitty term now, and they'll find something that you did that was completely unintentional. That then you get labeled as, well, you're being racist now. And so you can't win when you're on that side. That's why that whole left side is going to lose horribly, because they're making each other wrong all the time. And the middle and the people leaning towards the right are just kind of like, they're not doing that to the same degree. You know, they might disagree, but at least they all agree that the left is, a bunch of BS and eating its own tail.
The problem with the far right, I say far right, far left.
Yeah.
The problem is that then they become tattletales, and like they're going after James Gunn for making a fucking off-color joke. No. And by the way, I understand what they're doing, because I have a fucking thing. I have a thing where I go, hold your line. If that's your fucking line, then you hold that line across. You can't pick when it's convenient for you. If you're gonna say no one can make jokes about fucking rape or this or that, then you fucking eat your own also. I don't want to hear a fucking word out of you, because my thing is I support free speech across the board, across the fucking board. I applaud when every bit of free speech, and even the shit I don't like. The shit I don't like, I won't try to silence you. Say what you want to say.
I agree with you. I think the problem right now is there's this contingent of people that think words are the same thing as violence, which is really dangerous.
It's a lot of younger people.
Yeah.
And it's because they really, I think it's because it's an entitlement. My wife read a book called The Coddling. What?
Coddling of the American Mind.
Were you about to fucking put words in my mouth? Were you
Yeah, John Haidt wrote that book.
Yeah.
Really good. He was on my show too. I love that guy's work.
That's
really
a fucking interesting book. So what kind of other authors do you have on your podcast, and how do you get them?
Yeah,
I've only wanted one author ever, and that was the guy who wrote So You've Been Shamed.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
You never read that book?
No.
Dude.
Who wrote it?
John Ronson?
Oh, yeah, he's a super prolific writer.
Yeah, his podcast do you have to get out of here at some
No,
time?
I'm looking up who I had on recently. Sorry, I was trying to be all smooth.
Oh, Halston will look it up. Halston, pull up we just got a Halston on a computer to go look things up.
The Jordan Harbinger show and see who I've had on. The reason is because otherwise I'll be naming stuff that's like not out for 2 months, and then people are like, hey, where's that one? It's just annoying to service that whole thing.
John Ronson, So You've Been Shamed is one of the most interesting books I've ever read. And basically, public shaming is fascinating, and it's fascinating in the way it's going right now, because what has happened now is it has forced it got so overused that it has forced shamelessness on people. Is that now the only way to get by is to be shameless, and I think being shameless is unhealthy. I think it's like the thing that happened with Donald Trump. I'll just use Donald Trump as a thing. He's shameless. I mean, he's across the board shameless. Grab her by the pussies. Yeah, I don't know. I never said that. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's just locker room talk.
Doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah. And there should there should be an even flow of shame in people. Of me, there's things I've said on stage and that I'm ashamed of. That I wish I could go back and change, but I can't.
Is it shame, or is it just like embarrassment because I probably shouldn't have said that?
Embarrassment and by the way, things have changed. I am aware that things have changed. I'm aware that I'm a bad example because but there's a period of my career like that special where like I am not proud of how I named bits back then, because I named bits and put them online so that they would get people up in arms.
Sure.
And then they'd find me. And now I look and I go, I wish I just waited. Like one of the bits, I was like, let's talk about black people. And I was like, I wish, I'm not proud of the title of that bit that I put online, but I can't. I'm like, but fuck it. That's what I called that. Because I wasn't saying anything bad about black people, but I knew that if I put that, people would go, whoa, what's this guy going to say?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course. So like that little, not viral appeal. What is that? Clickbaity type situation.
I've said shit before where I go, yeah, that was fucked up. You should be allowed to go to own it and say, yeah, like, that was fucked up. And, I think I've grown. I think I've learned.
Well,
and then,
especially in comedy.
Yeah, and then people go, I actually, yeah, I'm cool with that. But that's not what happens. Nah, it's not good enough. Look what happened with Kevin Hart. How many times did they want him to apologize?
It's never going to be enough.
Never enough. And then I heard Kevin say, and then if you give them attention, that's all they want. So you got to shut off their attention. So you got to be shameless. You got to be like, fuck you. I'm not sorry. How you like that? I remember I had a friend one time, Bill Burr. I was hesitant to say his name, but I know he doesn't give a fuck. He got in trouble for something he said on Conan one time. And I ran into him and I said, how's everything going? Is everything okay with that? And he goes, with what? And I said, nice. I go with, I don't know. It's like I noticed. And he goes, who's saying it? I said, I don't know. He goes, did anyone say it at the coffee shop you were at today? I said, no. And he goes, who's saying it? And I went, I don't know. I just saw that. And he goes, but who are they? Do you know them? I said, no. He goes, I don't know them. I don't see them. I don't see them walking down the street. They're not coming to my shows. Who are they? And I was like, yeah, who the fuck are they?
Yeah.
Like they're not. Like if you're in alignment with what you believe, you get to be shameless in a weird way. If you're like, fuck it, that's my thought.
Yeah, I agree with that. The people that are doing that are often people that would have never. It's not like you got, hey, look, I've been to all your shows. I really like what you do. This I kind of disapprove of this one thing that you did. I'm a little disappointed in you. What you get is screeching outrage from somebody who heard of you yesterday from that particular offensive thing that you said.
Screeching outrage is a great. I had a girl. I'll tell you what. There's one instance where I offended someone beyond belief. I heard what they said, and they hated me, but I allowed what they said in my brain to affect what I thought in a good way. I had a joke. I used to have a joke about getting a blowjob from my wife. It was an easy joke, but you know what they don't like? When you grab them by the back of the head and shove them on your dick. And then I tried the sensitive approach, slide it in her mouth while she's sleeping, and just, I'm like, and then I mime face fucking her. I go, no, you're dreaming. You're snorkeling in the Keys. And this woman came up and just in a meet and greet in New York. There's like fucking 30 people and just starts screaming, "You're a rapist! You're a rapist! You raped your wife! You raped your wife!"
She's crazy. This is a crazy person.
She's a crazy person, but she's shaking. She's so angry. She's so fucking angry, right?
Wow.
And women are defending me across the board. They're like, it's a fucking joke.
Yeah, it's a joke.
It's a joke, and it's his wife. It's a joke. And she lost her shit and left. And then the next night I went to go do that joke in a defiant way. And I thought, it's a pretty easy joke. It's a pretty easy joke. And I bet there are women who woke up with a dick in their mouth at times in their life.
Definitely. There are definitely. I know I have female friends that have had that experience. Yes. It's traumatizing. So maybe that could be triggering, but you can't not say things because some weird pervert 30 years ago did something shitty.
But what I thought was, I wonder if I'm painting myself in a way I want to be painted. Like, dude, would I ever shove my dick in my wife's mouth? Never in a million years. I did put it on her shoulder the other day, but I thought that just was trying to define what a dick is. That's what dicks are adventurous. And so I just kind of, and then it was an older joke, especially, and I stopped doing it, and I thought that woman's outrage, as misconnected as it was, it allowed me to see the way I talk about sex with my wife. Because I was like, am I using her as a vehicle for this male on top of shit, or should I be more honest with what we are doing? Because I've never done that. I've never grabbed her by the back of the head and thrown it on the dick. And then I started going, I literally allowed this woman's outrage to filter the way I work on material. And I went, you know, that who am I getting to laugh at that? It's a cheap joke. It's a fun joke, but it's a lot of fucking guys going, yeah, she's having her mouth while she's leaving. And it's definitely the guy that did it. The guy that did it's like, it does work. It does work. And then I thought, or should I be the guy that connects with all these guys in the room that would actually never do that in a million years, but they are the guy that find that joke funny, and they are in a relationship. What are they like? And then it was really an introspective way to look at outrage, in my opinion, where I was like, yeah, no, you can take someone's outrage and then filter it and go, yeah, how are people perceiving me? How should I represent myself? Does that make sense?
I do, yeah. That does make sense, and I agree, but I will say she probably could have gotten you to do that by going, hey, look, Bert, I really love everything that you do. I've been a fan for a while. I'm so glad I came to the show. The joke about that whole wife rape thing, it really makes me super uncomfortable. You raped your wife, and I find that really weird. I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
Just think about the way that makes you look.
Black chick said something to me.
Would have done the same thing.
Yep, black chick said something to me in D.C. one time. I had a joke that I was working on that I was a little aggressive, and she came up to me after the meet and greet, and she was like, dude, I'm a big fan. Great show. I would definitely reconsider that black joke. And I went, really? She goes, I'll tell you why. And she told me, and I thought to myself, this changed a lot. That one conversation, I thought, I am not that person.
Yeah.
And that is not how I want myself to be perceived, and it's definitely not how I want this woman to feel walking out of my show. And I was like, I've said it on stage before. If you are offended by a joke that I have, come talk to me. I would love to hear your opinion. I'm probably not at this age in my life am I going to change much anymore, because I think I'm pretty dialed into like, but I do, because I go out, I'm going to stand by this, especially this hour. But when I'm writing, if there's something like, if I just get done an hour and you see me on the road and I'm working on something and you're like, I don't think he knows what he's saying. I used to have a joke about how you should first date a person, like going out on a first date, and I had a punchline that I thought was fucking hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And my friends were like, hey man, that is not a great punchline. It's not funny at all, and it's kind of sad.
Oh man.
And I was like, really? And they're like, oh yeah, I would stop telling it. I couldn't tell, because I just it's a hard art form, I guess, in essence.
Well, yeah, you have to find things that people find funny. Some of those things, there's a huge Venn diagram of what's going to be funny versus offensive, and you want to get in the middle of that. And it's really easy to just fall outside that line and just be offensive and or just tacky, and people are like, not funny.
That's the hardest part when you go back. One of the things you said that I think is very strong is like about having friends.
For men having friends, like platonic guy friends.
It's hard to make friends. Really hard to make. It's easier to fuck somebody that you don't know than to become a friend of somebody.
100%.
And part of that is you got to have a similar sensibility of what you find funny, and not everyone's the same.
No, that's for sure true. It's got to be things that you find funny. It's also got to be, there's a value alignment, and a lot of us, for guys, it's a lot of timing. Like, you have kids, so if you meet a guy that doesn't have kids, there's a good chance that you guys are not going to click that well, because those girls are probably the center of your life in more ways than one. Some guy who doesn't have any kids and is like, yeah, let's go do that. You're just like, I don't know about you. I go to bed at like 9:30.
I don't go to bed at 9:30.
Yeah. I mean, I love going out, but my wife's pregnant, we're going to have a kid soon. Like, I go to bed early because she's up, and I know that I'm going to have a baby that's awake at all hours.
Yeah.
So I'm basically sleep training myself. I used to go out all night, all the time. you meet people at different phases of life. It's a lot of it is timing. A lot of it's going to be sense of humor. A lot of that stuff's going to be values. And so as guys, we're like, I don't want to think about any of that shit. So we just don't make friends.
What's a way, like if someone's listening to this and they don't have a lot of friends, what's a way to make friends?
One way that I recommend is, and a lot of people will write in, I do like Friday advice. And one way that I recommend, especially when people move, is if you're not already, this is especially good if you're in a new town, make a list of like 4 or 5 skills you've always wanted to learn, whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's like cooking Italian food, learning freaking Spanish, whatever it is. And then you find classes that teach that. Just take one at a time. Don't try to dive into like 5 activities. Do one thing at a time. And there are tons of like organizations, clubs, whatever, outings that do that. And you meet people that are in the same age group, generally like-minded, interested in the same stuff. Worst case scenario, even if everyone in that class totally sucks, you're learning a skill that you've always wanted to learn, so it's not a waste of your time. And generally people are like, join clubs, that's stupid, I don't really want to do that. But look, if you're like, I guess I kind of want to learn to defend myself, or I need to do a sport. If you do jiu-jitsu and you don't make friends there, something's wrong with the place you're going to do jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Or if you want to learn boxing and you go to a boxing gym and you're not meeting anybody that is cool at all, something's wrong with the gym. Because that's a place where guys go to bro out all the time. CrossFit or whatever, those places are like cults, man. They're always hanging out, weekends and doing barbecues and stuff.
Yeah.
You can't not make friends at places like that.
Yeah, that's the truth. I think, I guess all my friends I made it stand up.
Yeah.
My wife made the other ones. But like,
that's normal.
But yeah, that makes total fucking sense.
That's normal. And because a lot of guys will go, I don't want to just learn how to go to stupid clubs and make friends. Like they think they're going to be in a room being like, hi, and like at a mixer. It's not like that at all. When you're doing something like jiu-jitsu, you're literally rolling around on top of each other and talking and afterwards getting to know each other. I mean, that's I think one of the reasons that stuff is so popular is because it does create that brotherhood that you just don't get anywhere else now, especially guys.
What's the most common question you get asked from fans?
Man, on Fridays I get everybody's personal stuff in my inbox, but people want to know. I teach people like really basic networking and relationship stuff, like how to meet and reach out to people that they find interesting, like reach out to influencers online or like create business relationships or negotiate their salary for their job. That's really common.
Negotiate their salary?
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do that?
Oof. I did a 3-hour, almost more than 4 hours, 3-part series on negotiation.
Whittle it down in 1 minute.
1 minute. Yeah. So what you would do is you set up the meeting with your boss if you don't already have a performance review. You start documenting all of the wins that you have. Not like, I learned how to use Microsoft Excel, but like, hey, I managed this really difficult client, rescued that sale, trained a new sales division. You have to mark those things down and then get as many concrete numbers as you can from the people that were involved. Because what a lot of people do is they go to their performance review and they go, yeah, I've been here for another year and I did some stuff with the sales team and I guess that probably went well. And then, I don't know, we formed that project and like, I don't know, I handed that off to somebody. And so I'm here, I'm still working. And they're like, cool, 2% raise. And you're like, great, thanks, bye. What you should do instead is go get those numbers, find out the bottom line increase to the company. That way you can go in and show management, look, I've done this, and it's worked out really well. And if you really want to negotiate your salary and you think you're going to have a hard time doing it, what you start doing is you start interviewing and looking for other jobs and getting offers on the table. This is more aggressive. But if you get another offer from somebody, you can leverage that to keep your existing job and have them match that offer. You should always be negotiating your salary or renegotiating your salary every single year. I know that sounds aggressive, but most people don't do that. There's a huge divide between people who switch jobs all the time and negotiate their salary every time. Those people end up making like $1 million more over the course of their career.
Who does? People that negotiate their salary?
The people that negotiate their salary.
Really?
Because if you get a 5% increase every year, that's fine. Whatever, you'll end up getting whatever that amount is. If you go and negotiate your salary or you leverage a different offer for a different position, or you say, look, I have an offer from this other company, but I want to stay here. This is what they're offering me. Can you match that? If they want to retain you, they will. You'll end up with an average of like 7 to 10%. And that every single year is an absolutely enormous increase over 20, 30 years. You'll end up making literally more like $1 million more than you were making before on average, and if you're highly paid, like six-figure, multi-six-figure, you're going to make millions of dollars more by getting another offer and leveraging it. Will your existing boss be mad? It doesn't matter, and it usually won't happen. You're just looking out. If they get mad and emotionally hurt about this, they're being unfair. Your boss and company can't say, we're offended that you went out and looked for another job. You say, I wasn't really looking for another job. I was testing the market because I want to see what the market will pay for what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Yeah. And if they think it's unfair, you are in the wrong place, because there's a lot of companies that'll say things like this. They'll say, we're like family here. You know what that means? It means come work weekends, come work overtime. Don't ask for more shit.
Yeah.
That's what that means. If they really mean we're like family here, then what they mean is we're taking care of you in a way that is fair, even if it's not in our best interest. We want everyone taken care of. That family company will match that salary because you're like family. Usually companies and organizations and bosses, they only say that when they're taking advantage of you and they want you to sit there and take it.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. So wait, I saw you pull up your list of people you've had on.
I totally
walk me through some people you've had on that you've interviewed and you've learned something from, or like whittle it down. Like if you could.
Sure.
Like say, give me someone and then like, this is what I learned here, or this is what we talked about here.
Sure, yeah. So speaking of negotiation, I had Chris Voss on the show. Have you heard of this guy?
No.
He was a former FBI hostage negotiator. He actually kind of invented their hostage negotiation program. So I had Chris Voss on. It's episode 165.
How did you even fucking define this guy?
How did I find him?
Yeah.
So I was friends with him before, and I found him because he wrote a book on negotiation that's one of the best books ever written. It's called Never Split the Difference. On negotiation, one of the best books. It's episode 165 of the Jordan Harbinger show.
Do they have that on audiobook too?
That book? Yeah, they have it.
My eyes, I lost my glasses and my eyes are not working. And Bill told me, if you start wearing glasses, it makes your eyes worse. And now I think that's fucking, don't ever listen to fucking Dr. Burr. Fucking half of his fucking concepts.
He's replying to a bunch of unread texts.
I'm just reading text, going, not replying to that. I'm so sorry. This is why my podcast sucks. This is why yours is better. Is that I'm sitting there going, what's the name of that book? I'm trying to buy it on audiobook.
Never Split the Difference is the name of the book. Chris Voss, Voss. And the episode where I summarize a lot of the concepts in the book is 165 on the Jordan Harbinger show. So if you're not sure if you want the book, go listen to that podcast first.
Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. Just bought it in audiobook.
Get it. It's so good. And what he does really well is he talks about negotiation strategies, and then he'll be like, so when I was negotiating the freeing of hostages in the Philippines, or when I was negotiating this bank heist gone wrong where they were taking hostages, we learned about this, and this. And so he'll teach you the concepts based on like a bank robbery that went horribly wrong. And then he'll be like, so in business, and then there's the concept. It's much more interesting than listening to like a Harvard negotiation professor talk about spreadsheets or whatever.
This is awesome. I love this. Okay.
So good.
Okay, give me another one.
All right.
Now I'm just loading up audiobooks for myself.
Sure. Another one, I interviewed Cesar Millan, actually, the dog whisperer.
Really?
Yeah. He was really interesting. I didn't know much about him when I had him on the show. I didn't realize he grew up poor as hell in Sinaloa, Mexico, and like was in drug cartel territory, and he was good with animals back then, and he would train animals and train dogs, and he moved to LA, and he was washing cars, and he was homeless for a while. And he lived in South Central LA in the middle of the hood, and nobody messed with him because he would have 40 dogs, and he would walk them all off leash. And these are like bad dogs, local dogs. He was walking dogs for free, pit bulls and German shepherds.
What the fuck up?
He'd be on like used rollerblades, and he'd have 40 dogs chasing him. They're not fighting. They're not freaking barking at strangers. And he became known as this like weird dude who could walk 40 dogs. And a lot of the gang members thought he was like kind of, they didn't want to mess with a guy who could walk 40 dogs because they're like, he's got magical powers or something. And so then he was washing cars, and I think he was training people's dogs. Like celebrities would come and get their car washed, and he would be able to sort of like command their dog, and they'd be like, this is the worst dog I've ever had. act up all the time, and you're just like, calm down, like doing Jedi mind tricks on these dogs. So they started hiring him, and then he became friends with like Jada Pinkett Smith, and she's like, you need to have a TV show. Like this is next level. Now he's wealthy and famous. And so his story is actually really incredible. He's not like some like privileged dude who went to a dog training school and like popularized it and now he trains dogs. He invented all of this.
It's funny. I bet you see this. I see this a lot. Is you see one person do something really outstanding, and then you see a bunch of copycats.
Yeah.
Like there's so many. There's not only copycat television shows about what he did.
Yeah.
But now that's a business. Is people see it on TV and go, I want a dog whisperer.
Sure.
We have a friend with a semi-problematic dog, and he's gone through 4 different trainers to try to fix it, and no one's fixed anything.
Dang. It's got to call Cesar Millan.
I don't know if he still does private.
Yeah. And
does?
he's got a bunch of trainers at the Dog Psychology Center, which is down somewhere around here.
Really?
Yeah.
My old boss was the person that helped launch his career.
Really?
Lorena Ong. She'd be an interesting person to have on your podcast. She
Yeah.
used to own the part of the White Sox.
Caesar actually ended up with whatever production company did some of his stuff. He ended up not even being able to use the name, the Dog Whisperer, and he lost a lot. I guess he got raked over the coals on some contract. Very Hollywood. He's like a Mexican immigrant who didn't speak any English at all.
Yeah.
When he came here, and he just kind of signed whatever was in front of him really early, and so somebody took advantage of him. Hopefully it wasn't that woman that you're talking about. Probably not.
I don't know.
Some
I hope
production
not,
company.
Lorene.
Yeah.
Who else?
Lorene. Let's see. I have so many interesting people on here. I had this guy, Jaron Lanier. He talks about how social media companies actually program us how to think. And this is not a conspiracy theory type of guy. He's one of the early internet guys. He's like, yeah, they're saving your information. No news there. But the way these algorithms work, and he knows this because he helped create a lot of this stuff, he's like, they train you how to think about things, and you don't know that it's actually programming you how and what to think because it's so subtle. Really? So he talks about how we're losing kind of our human agency and autonomy by using a lot of Facebook, a lot of these different social media outlets, because we don't see, if you log into Facebook right now and I log into Facebook right now, I don't see the same news. I don't see the same political slant as you. I don't see the same products.
Let me see your Twitter. Because
Sure.
I got off Twitter entirely before I got on tour. I got on for one fucking weird thing, but I'd be curious to see
Like what
your for you looks like.
Yeah. So first thing is
the
feature banner or whatever.
Yeah, what is yours?
Former Obama aide charged in relation to Mueller investigation.
An apparent Nipsey Russell flub sheds light an important figure that inspired. Mine's about Nipsey Russell.
Yeah.
Mine's about Nipsey Russell, not Nipsey Hussle. And then trending for you.
Yeah.
I got WikiLeaks.
I got WikiLeaks, yeah.
Secret of Pets.
Yep.
National Pet Day.
Yep.
Bret Easton Ellis.
Oh, I got Thursday Thoughts, whatever the hell that is.
I don't have Thursday Thoughts. Greg Craig.
Yeah, I got that.
And then What's Happening.
Yep.
Welcome to Your Life in the 30s.
Okay, I got that.
Julian Assange.
Yep.
Teeth-shattering face goal.
No, New York's post 9/11 cover responding to Ilhan Omar's comments sparked strong reactions.
That?
No,
I already saw that one.
So maybe that's why.
All-star cast assembled for Wine Country.
Nope, I got Pamela Anderson reacts to Julian Assange's arrest.
I got Pamela Anderson.
Why do I want her reaction to Julian Assange? Her reaction is, who's Julian Assange? That's gotta be. Give me a break.
Why would anyone go? What's Pam Anderson think about this?
Like, stop the presses. I want to know what.
Clearly, she must be dating him or something.
Yeah. Oh my God.
She must have fucked him. There's only one reason she would be attached to him, and that she gave him Hep C.
The actor had some harsh words for Ecuador, the UK, and the US following Assange's arrest on Thursday. Well, I'm so concerned about
Now I'm fucking fascinated.
I will admit to being surprised she knows who that is and where Ecuador is at all.
Okay, Pam Anderson. I am shocked. I couldn't hear clearly what he said. He looks very bad. How could you, Ecuador? Because he exposed you? How could you, UK? Of course. You're America's bitch. and you need some diversion from your idiotic Brexit bullshit.
Wow.
And the USA, this toxic coward of a president, he needs to rally his base. He needs to rally his base. You're selfish and cruel, and you've taken the entire world backwards. You are devils and liars and thieves, and you will rot.
With
and
two T's, R-O-T-T.
We will rot. And we will rise.
Fist emoji. Wow.
Apparently she's been visiting him in the embassy.
She visited him in the embassy. Jeez.
What the fuck? Like,
what world am I in right
what,
now where she's
Pamela
a political
Anderson?
figure?
Oh, I want to just go visit someone famous and then Bert Kreischer reacts to.
Yeah. Bert Kreischer reacts to, you know what? We should trend something like that. Bert Kreischer reacts to Julian Assange's arrest.
Yeah. I'm gonna post a very similar, almost identical. I'm gonna write, I'm in shock. I couldn't hear clearly what he said, so I'm not sure, but he looks bad. Ecuador, what the fuck? UK, seriously? Of course. You guys suck America's dick. I'm just gonna quote it. Almost. See, but then this is I don't even know anything about Julian Assange.
No one's going to ask you about Julian Assange.
What'll happen is I'll post that joke and then someone will be like, dude, do you even know what's going on with Julian Assange? First of all, are you aware? Like,
have you read his Wikipedia talk page? No, you haven't.
Yeah, I haven't. So we're kind of getting the same feed, but we're probably
I'm wondering,
the same.
Is this like location based or is it based on what we read? Because if so, we read a lot of the same news apparently.
Mine's always about black people because I'm really into hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
It's always got like something.
Nipsey Russell.
Yeah, it's like, and then I posted it the other day. It was like Christy Teigen, John Legend takes out Christy Teigen's braids. Hilarious or crazy video.
Oh, got it.
And I tweeted out, I go, what the fuck have I been Googling that I don't even know Christy Teigen. I don't even know anything about Christy Teigen or I've never heard a song John Legend's ever played. I know they're famous, but I don't know why she's famous. I don't know what she did.
I think she's a cook or chef. I don't know if cook is now I'm going to get hate mail because I said cook instead of chef.
Yeah. And so I said, I was like, the fuck did I Google that this comes up in my newsfeed? And then Christy Teigen like replied to it. And I was like, cool. Christy Teigen hit me up. I didn't even know who she was.
Oh, wow.
Until the morning. And now I'm like, oh, Christy Teigen replied.
Now you're all excited?
She's actually really hot.
Yeah, she's super nice, I think, too.
Gorgeous.
Here's the 4 hands condom box. That's trending for me, too, because the phone's probably listening to us talk and serving up ads.
The joke I was writing for that, and I'm comfortable saying it but not writing it, was those condoms don't work in like a gang rape. But then again, what guy puts on a condom in a gang rape?
Good
like
point.
The guy that goes last, do you think that's offensive to the other guys in the gang rape? He's like, you know what? I don't know where you guys. I know where she's been. I don't know where you guys have been.
So horrible.
That's so horrible.
Why are people? They don't like it because if the guy doesn't want to wear it, they can't open it themselves or something.
It's implying that it is implying that somehow women regret having it's I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something to the effect of go Google it, go read the responses and you'll read it. Women are saying that, so you're saying that just because we start fooling around that I can't then feel like I was raped at the end of it.
Oh,
I think.
The worrying thing is that this frames consent as a discussion, in quotes, and implies that the real issue is that women might make it up or exaggerate after consensual sex. This is a product designed essentially to protect men from rape accusations, not to protect women from rape.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I see. Wow, I got to wrap my head around that.
See, already I want to hang out with that person because I love hearing opposing views. I love hearing different sides of the fence. I would love to hear that person's opinions on everything because I go, more of that because I didn't see that way. You know?
It is interesting to see that, especially if it's not just screeching outrage. Like, how dare you? It's just, look, here's the problem I see with this. Whether I agree with that or not, it's just proof that you can have a real discussion without just being like, we need to boycott that company. The person who invented it should be fired. The marketing company, the CEO needs to go to prison now. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
None of these things are the case. Like, you can swing and miss on something like this as a company and not be like guilty of something. And that's a problem. And people don't believe that. People don't agree with that now.
Like, can I tell you, The Gucci's blackface sweaters. Do you remember that?
No.
Gucci made blackface sweaters. I think I get things in my news feed that are based. I think I get outrage news sent to my news feed.
Everybody does. That's what we were talking about with Jaron Lanier. So one of the things that we talked about on that episode of the show was there's you know what negativity bias is? So we are evolved to pull negativity out and register it stronger, because the theory goes, look, the caveman that walked by a Russell in the bushes and went, it's probably nothing, got eaten by a fucking leopard, and the one that went, ooh, that could be dangerous, immediately snapped his head that way and avoided.
Okay, I got that brain. I got that brain hard as fuck.
We all got that brain, right? We all got that.
I got it worse than my wife's got it. My wife barely fucking has it.
Really?
She's like, yeah, I think the girls should skateboard to. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Hold on, you're gonna put our idiot kids on skateboards and send them where? Like, I go, there's a slasher running around L.A. There's a slasher on a bike. He was just slashing people in the faces.
What?
Yeah, that's fucking L.A. That's where we live. I go, we don't live in fucking Iowa where my daughters can skateboard a mile down the road. Like, we live in Los Angeles. There are fucking homeless people at the Starbucks painting right now. There's a homeless guy painting at the Starbucks, and everyone's so scared of him they don't kick him out because he's fucking set up an easel. So, like...
Well, or do they just like the painting?
He's actually a really good painter. He was out of his fucking mind.
He's probably schizophrenic.
He's definitely schizophrenic or something.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually is a really good painter. It's the first time a friend of ours killed himself, Brody Stevens, very funny comic.
Oh man.
Brody used to hang out at our Starbucks, and I just miss Brody so much because if Brody was alive, we could definitely talk about this painting guy for a fucking solid hour. But yeah, and so I've got that danger thing you're talking about.
That negativity bias. We all have that to some degree. And what that does is it makes us... That's why the evening news is not like, hey, there's all these really cool things happening in your town. Oh, look, here's a safe place to bring your kids. Look, the zoo got a new animal. Like, you get that rarely, but it doesn't register. What you get is there's a slasher running around L.A. Okay, not quite L.A. Actually, it's 6 miles outside L.A. But let's talk about that guy and then make everyone feel like he's basically watching the kids that they have through the window of the house right now on the news. They make everything so dramatic. Well, that's fine if you're watching the news, but the problem is social media takes that and goes, wait, we can get to you on your phone when you don't want to see stuff like this 20,000 times a day, and we can optimize based on what you click on. So, you're not scared of the slasher? How about this? The economy's taking a nosedive. Oh, you're not interested in the economy? How about this political figure that you think is a free speech advocate is now getting arrested? Oh, that's a problem. So you click on that, and then it's like, oh, so you're worried about free speech. Let's show you 200 occasions a day in which your rights are being threatened. And so then you're like, the world's falling apart. I see it here on my phone. Meanwhile, someone's like, I agree with you because they clicked on the slasher thing. And so now all they're seeing is violent crime. Social media optimizes for that in a very granular level. And it makes you scared because that's what increases engagement. It makes you scared and angry. Anger and fear are the most engaging emotions on social media and probably in life in general. So those companies, they optimize for that. Specifically, they find out what you're scared of and what pisses you off, and they send you more of that because you engage with it, you read it, you stay on longer, you make more comments. That's how they make money.
Okay, you ready for this? Mark this down. This is me and your business project. We are going in this together. You're up in Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
So this is my soft pitch. You cannot steal it. If you steal it, I know it. Here's our pitch. You just sold me. We are going to create an app called Unspiral that takes a look at all the stuff you've been Googling on the other sites and then gives you reverse engineering to get you out of that spiral.
That's a really interesting idea. Like, how possible is it that it's like, oh, I'm really worried about this slasher, and it's like crime at record low in your neighborhood.
Yes, yeah, like
homeless man runs around giving children free art that he made at a Starbucks nearby.
Yeah. How hard it is to slash someone on a bike?
Yeah,
While
impossible.
driving, yeah.
Chances are, even
riding
if you get a cut,
bicycle accidents up when using one hand.
Yeah. Multiple arrests of all the dangerous people that you were scared of overnight. This morning, no worries about anything.
Knife sales down.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, it's Unspiral.
Yeah.
So it's what you do is when you find yourself in a fucking hole on Instagram or on Twitter, and you're just like, motherfucker, And then all of a sudden you can go to this thing, and this thing's been tracking all your social media posts, and it just basically brings you back up to level and goes, hey, everything's going to be fine. You're going to be totally fine. We get Calm to sponsor it, right? Calm will help us. Calm will help us make it. And
I'm surprised they don't start off each guided meditation with, here are 3 things that happened today that are going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Slasher. Arrested.
It would be cool. Then you get off Instagram and you're like, oh, by the way, here's a bunch of pictures of celebrity without their makeup on. And you're like, oh, you look good.
You like that account?
You're feeling what? Oh, I don't even. Is that a real thing?
Oh yeah. I wish I knew what it was called off the top of my head. It's like, it's like Celeb Face or something, and it's celebrities side by side, makeup and no makeup, and you just feel good about yourself after seeing it because you go, oh, I knew it.
I feel like I listened to Rogan and Kevin Hart, and I am very cynical. I'm a very cynical person, especially about inspirational people. Like, I'm cynical about Tony Robbins.
I am with you on that, dude. Yeah.
And
I don't try to get mixed up in that. If you think I'm not trying to inspire anybody, for the record.
Yeah, I'm very cynical, and I love Kevin Hart. But very easily I've been following. I've known Kevin for 20 years, and I follow him on Instagram. And there have been times where I've been cynical about stuff he said on the post. I'm like, oh, come on, Kev. But I'm not his friend. Like, we don't hang out or anything. But if I saw him, I'd give him a hug. So I'm friends with him. Mm-hmm. But I found myself being at the beginning of that podcast. Something about it got me cynical, and I went, no. I stopped. I said, start this over and try to draw from a guy who's changed the fucking game. Two guys. I mean, Rogan's more my friend than I look at him in that way, but much more than Kevin. But I go, because I talk to Joe. I see him, once a week, twice a week. I talk to him. But I don't do that with Kevin. But I'm hearing Kevin talk about negativity and positivity and getting rid of the negativity and building the light and building this. And I forced myself to be optimistic, and it was so I realized how often I look at things pessimistically, sarcastically, and I was like, that's unhealthy. That's so unhealthy. And that is a product of what is social media. Is like social media forces you to go, oh, come fucking, like, that's your go-to muscle. And I sat and listened to that podcast. Anytime I felt myself going negative, I went, no. And I'd back it up and I'd start it over. It was a real interesting, but that's why I think Unspiral would work.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think the only problem that you see with something like Unspiral is it doesn't trigger that immediate gut reaction that social media triggers where you go, you know what, I'm going to set this motherfucker straight. Yeah. I got to correct this asshole. Whereas Unspiral would have to be more like meditation where it's like, look, I'm going to go through this right now.
So what is that? What is that? Why does anger really take you to the fucking...
Negativity bias. It's that survival mechanism that it's anger and fear. They're like, let's think of them as one thing, even though they're not. That's the lion in the bush, right? It snaps your attention to it, and you go, all right. And you have cognitive dissonance when it comes to, like, if someone says, oh yeah, all guys that wear Tampa Bay Buccaneers shirts are racist and abuse their kids. It's like, wait a minute, I've got to correct the record on this, right? It makes
someone's just gonna pull that fucking clip. Just there, and then me just go.
Yep, yeah, and then they're gonna be like, "This Jordan guy makes all kinds of wild accusations." It's that negativity bias. We want to set the record straight, and it causes us to have a knee-jerk emotional reaction. That's
So then why? Tell me why a company like Twitter allows it from the left but doesn't allow it from the right. The negativity bias that triggers, say, I'm going to use Adam Carolla because I know he's that's a bad idea. I'm not going to use Adam. I'll use myself.
Okay.
But it's not entirely accurate, but because I can't use myself because I kind of enjoy crazy talk on both sides. Like, I enjoy it because it lets me kind of see things from a different angle.
Sure.
Okay. So let's say a guy that's alt-right, right?
Yeah.
He's reading, Patton Oswalt's tweet about something about progressive white people. This is a perfect example. There was a friend of mine who's not alt-right, but he got upset because Patton tweeted out something that said about Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele tweeted out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but I know, I heard about this. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And so Patton and this guy got into it. But Patton's tweet, which is progressive, outraged my friend who's not progressive. He's more conservative, I guess. They allow Patton's tweet that outrages a conservative, but if it's flip-flopped, they've been silencing the alt-right who are putting out like Alex Jones, who put out outrageous shit. They silence that. But that's the thing they build their business on, is that negativity bias.
Definitely.
And so why are they silencing it from the left to the right, but not the right to the left? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I can only venture a little bit of an idea here. I think when you look at a guy like Alex Jones, not everything, that's a huge overstatement. Many of the things he says are provably untrue completely. Like the whole Sandy Hook was staged thing is like just not true. Now, you might look at something that's said on the right or the left and go, that's an opinion that I disagree with. Or you might go, they're cherry picking statistics, or there's some bias here that they're trying to state something that's not true. But when you find something that is like both untrue provably and you're doing it just to get attention for your platform, I think Twitter would have gladly let him stay. They were just dealing with so much pressure from both sides, honestly, that they wanted to get rid of a guy like that.
Yeah.
But I think if you had somebody on there like Richard Spencer, one of these alt-right, literal like Nazi sympathizer types on there, you would find that there'd be so much pressure to get rid of him. When the left is a little bit sneakier because they'll come in and they'll go, we just want everything to be fair. But their idea of fair could be totally fucking ridiculous and completely unfair to all of these people that they consider, well, you're just privileged. It's like, well, wait a minute. I now have to give everything. There's a whole lot wrong with that. They're saying all we want is things to be fair, whereas one side might be saying, look, we just don't like people that aren't white. That's a whole big can of worms that sounds pretty damn evil because it honestly is. The other stuff on the left tends to be disguised better, frankly. It just sounds like, look, we just want everybody to be equal, even if what that means is you have to give us all these things that you worked for, or you have to stop doing all these things that you associate with good family values because we hate religion or whatever it is that they want. They're just saying, but it's all in the name of fairness. Whereas the right wingers, especially like some of the alt-right, they're actually saying they're probably being more intellectually honest, even if what they're saying is disgusting. Because they're saying, well, we're trying to protect white culture. And you're like, ugh. But they're not really hiding the ball. Whereas the left, the extreme left, I mean left-wing ridiculous, they're saying we just want everything to be fair. But what they mean is, well, we're going to take everything from you by force because fairness. Yeah. So that's different, right? And it's harder to come down hard on them because they're fucking hiding the ball. Yeah. Does that make sense?
It does. It does make sense. It does make sense. Where do you what's your goals? Where do you want to take things? What's like the podcast is successful.
Yeah.
Where's the next level? What?
Yeah. So I'm going to create a course on negotiation because that's probably the most common thing people write in about. And it was the most popular set of episodes we have. There was some like 1.8 million downloads or something of those. It was just bananas. And then I'll do another course on networking and relationship development for personal and professional because I teach a lot of people how to like network, develop relationships in business, reach out to people and grow business. Sales teams buy it. And I'll take this training that I'm doing with Microsoft and Facebook and the bodyguards and stuff like that and expand on it too. But honestly, if I could make the same money just podcasting, I would just triple, quadruple down on that. It's just, as you know, it's hard as hell to grow a show to a certain level. I mean, right now we have 5 million downloads a month, but I don't have like if I just spend 3 more hours a week, it'll be 10 million. It's just, it grows at the rate that it grows. Yeah. And so eventually I just love to do that.
Well, I think a lot of it's, this cross-pollination that I think that it's the coolest thing. I'm going through this a lot now because I did an interview and they were asking me about it and talking about it, but it's one of our successes as comics is that we've definitely cross-pollinated and allowed each other to share our fans and let people find things that we think are cool. I think you're a really smart guy, and I think
Thank you.
and I think that and I think you're curious. It's one of the things that I like in people is curiousness. I'm not the most curious guy. I'm curious about things, but I'm not curious in the sense of like what makes me curious is sometimes fucking weird stuff. Like it's not like what seems to be working these days is political curiosity, social curiosity. A lot of what makes me interested is I want to do a podcast with Jimmy Buffett because I want to hear.
I saw that on your Twitter and I was like, what the hell is that going on there?
I fucking love Jimmy Buffett. Like I want to do a podcast with John Daly. Like I like to party and I like to have a good time. I like hearing good stories. But I'm also curious. I'm also curious. Like I'm dying to what dials me in is when you talk about this guy. I love a good story that teaches you a lesson.
Oh man, this show's full of stories that teach lessons. In fact, would you ever go and do something like I'm working with this charity now called Hustle 2.0, and they last week or was it 2 weeks ago? I went to a maximum security prison, and they have a bunch of inmates that it's 75% life sentences, but a lot of them are getting out and they have no idea how to do a job interview. They have no idea. They have business ideas. A lot of them just need to they're going through a program and they're going through the stuff. They just want to have contact with people that have done stuff on the outside. And I'm going to be bringing groups of people to this prison. I went with a group of entrepreneurs and we ran them through like mock job interviews. It's one of the most fascinating sort of life-changing events I've ever had. I was paired up with this guy who was in a gang and had committed some egregious crime when he was like 16, and hearing his life story, I thought to myself, I would have ended up here too. It was like his parents, one of them killed the other when he was 8. He moves in with his cousins. They're in a gang. One of his cousins gets killed, so he has to protect himself. Gets a gun. Somebody's coming after him. He kills that guy. He ends up in prison. He's been in prison for 16 years. And I'm just like, I would have done the same thing. I would be exactly where you are right now.
Yeah. That's the one thing that disgusts me from the right sometimes is when it's almost this like manifest destiny of like, why didn't you just pick yourself up by the bootstraps? No, man. I often look at guys, when I was young, I had a thought that had I grown up in Tupac's circumstance, I would have not succeeded the way he did. I would have simply taken the path of least resistance as opposed to get on the bus and go all the way into Baltimore to go to the art school every day and show up. And so when you look at someone like, I remember feeling this at like 24, 23 looking at Tupac as an inspiration that he went through that and got himself out of it, as opposed to what they were saying about him is that he's a thug and he's this and he's that. I was like, no. I would be worse. I would be way worse. I've succeeded in life, but I think I've succeeded in life in spite of myself. Like I think I've definitely gotten in my way more than I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I think I'm talented and I think I work hard, but I only work hard because I love comedy. That's the only reason I work hard.
Sure.
And so I look at guys like that, and when you say that guy in prison, that's fascinating, man. That is so fucking fascinating. How can you help that guy though?
Well, for these guys in particular, we were running through mock job interviews, and they rarely get a chance to talk to somebody who's going to treat them normally. And so one of the things we did was I said, all right, tell me about yourself, right? Typical job interview BS.
I ain't no punk.
Yeah, there was. I mean,
cool.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on that? Can you expand on that? So one of the things that he said was, yeah, I'm really looking forward to working in, I think he wanted to work in oil fields. And he's like, I want to work in the oil fields. I find this industry really interesting. And it's something that I'm willing to do. I'm a very hard worker. And then I'll go, why do you have what do those tattoos mean? And he'll go, well, to be honest, I made some choices that were bad. And I go, wait, let me stop you right there. Just if I'm interviewing you for the oil fields, I don't want euphemisms. Just say, I was incarcerated for a while. I made some terrible decisions when I was younger, and I'm happy to talk about that. Because you don't want them to go, ooh, I really want to know what's going on, but I'm afraid to ask him and all this stuff, so I'm just not going to hire him. So he goes, oh, really? Like, you want me to talk about that? I go, yeah. They might not legally be able to ask, why did you go to prison? You should fucking offer that, because nobody wants to go, well, we didn't get a chance to ask him why he had all those tattoos of people getting stabbed on his neck, but we're going to take a chance on him. Let's put him on the oil rig alone with no police, with a bunch of people, and hope nothing goes wrong. It's like, No, you need to wear this on your sleeve for the first time you get a job. Tell people exactly what happened and say, this was a long time ago. I'm a different person now. I've gone through all this education. I'm embarrassed about all this. One of the reasons I want this job is because the first thing I'm spending my money on is I'm going to have all these ugly ass tattoos and gang shit removed because that's all in my past. That's where you get respect.
So a really great way to look at that. I would be the wrong guy to go into these prisons.
Oh, you'd be the wrong guy to go in?
Fuck yeah. Because all I'm doing already is writing a bit about it. Like I'm not really good at like advice. I mean, I guess if you
I don't know how good all the other people were.
I would be good at helping someone if they wanted to start public speaking, maybe. But I don't know how that transitions.
Maybe we could just do a comedy show in the prison. Would you ever do that?
Fucking no.
No?
No. The fuck are they gonna relate to my life about? So
I think you'd be more
when I was
relatable
22,
than a lot
I got
of
involved with the Russian mafia. Here's how it happened. They're like, oh, wait, why aren't you in here?
Yeah. I think that's probably more relatable than you think.
Maybe. That's interesting. What other things you got going on? What other fingers and pies?
What other?
Tell me some shit that's going on in the tech sector that I don't know about where we should be blowing the fuck up.
Oh man, good question. Let's see. Something that's going on in the tech sector that a lot of people are talking about and a lot of people are sweeping under the rug is the fact that China has their hands in pretty much all of our devices. Have you heard this?
Dude, I have heard so much shit about China lately.
Yeah.
You know, they're buying up buying up all of somewhere. All of Africa.
Yeah.
They're buying Africa.
Yeah, they're putting in infrastructure, highways, roads. The reason is because theoretically, it's like, look.
Okay. You tell me the real reason. I'm going to tell you the reason I believe.
Sure. The real reason is probably what you believe, but
they have no women.
What's that?
They have no women.
Oh, that's interesting. That was not where I was going with this.
That's mine.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're a bunch of dudes that fucking phased out chicks because you're only allowed 1.5 kids.
Yeah.
And now it's a fucking pirate ship over there.
Yeah.
And so they're coming in. They're going to rape and plunder. By the way, that is not an official opinion of Bert Kreischer. As I just said earlier, I'm not racist. And I just slammed China to the wall. There's a bunch of dicks over there.
They do have that ratio issue, that's for sure. They're putting in the infrastructure in Africa. You're not too far off. I don't know if they're going to plunder the women, but they're certainly going after the natural resources because that's where the value is.
Clearly, they don't know that black chicks don't date Chinese guys.
They haven't gotten that far yet.
They need to come to America and go to a mall and realize this isn't going to work out the way they thought it was. I already said I wasn't racist, and here I am with the most fucking, simple brow, just,
That is such an unlikely match, though, now that you mention it.
It's like they need to go to, I don't know.
They could have run this experiment on Tinder instead of building a highway from South Africa all the way up to Libya.
I was about to do a horrific racist Asian accent of the guy coming back to his boss going, dun, dun, dun. That's not. I think that's Japanese. That's Japanese. What's fuck, whatever. I don't know what is Chinese.
Are you trying to get me to do a Chinese accent?
No, but what's a Chinese American accent? Like, I can do a Chinese. I can do a Japanese American. I can do.
There's that Cantonese
Vietnamese,
that's
Vietnamese
kind of like
American.
The Cantonese is going to be similar to the Vietnamese in some ways.
Yeah,
if you're familiar with that, if you want to.
What's Taiwanese?
Taiwan is it's like a light version of Chinese. It's like
Chinese
polite.
light?
Taiwan is like polite, clean China.
Really?
Yeah. So
is that where Hong Kong is?
Hong Kong is actually in China.
It's in China.
And there's an island as well down. It's like south in China, and so that's like the Cantonese where it all sounds like they're yelling a lot. There's a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
From the sound of it. Taiwanese is almost that, or Taiwan Chinese is like the opposite of that. It's like really soft. Even the police sound really polite. So Chinese people go to Taiwan and they're like, wow, everyone's so nice. What the hell? It's like Canada, really soft, but even softer accent.
It's amazing. It's amazing how, and I know this is a very ignorant statement, but it's amazing how vastly different Asian cultures are.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd assume, and I guess it's the same with white and and African, like black, meaning like Jamaican versus Southern but it's fucking phenomenally. It blew me away. We went to Japan, and it was silent on the subway.
That place is like another planet. Tokyo in Japan, so
dude,
bizarre.
It was silent. We were in, and I'm so loud that I was standing out everywhere. And then we went to Vietnam right after Japan, and it was so aggressive.
Yeah.
It was so like I said, if no one touched anyone in Japan, they had their fingers in your mouth in Vietnam.
Totally. You ever flown on a plane with people, like the whole plane's full of Vietnamese people?
No.
Oh my God. You will, if you have personal space issues, like psychological space issues, it will drive you crazy. You know, you'll be sitting there and someone will be like, put their arm right there to reach over, and you're just like, dude, like if it happened in America, you'd give them a look, and if they did it again, you'd be like, excuse me. But in Vietnam, it's like they'll be like right here talking to somebody who's right here, and you're just like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
But it's totally normal.
Well, it's the same way with black people. Is when I my first real foray into like straight up hanging out with black people, meaning like I always had like a black friends, and it was all regular childhood. But in college, kind of very separate. It was.
Where'd you grow up?
Florida.
Okay.
Florida was oddly enough fairly segregated. Without segregation, it was still very segregated in Florida. I mean, went to Florida State, and that's a very segregated town. You have FAMU, which is the black college, and then you have Florida State, which is technically the white female college, is what it was. But the first, I did a TV show with Donnell Rollins and Red Grant, two really fucking amazing dudes, amazing comics. Got lost in that thought. Two amazing comics, but two really great guys. And I did not know anything about black culture. And I remember I got into a conversation with this woman, Lunell, and she was yelling at me, and I was fighting with her. And she was like, honey, you're getting upset. And I was like, yeah, you're yelling at me. She's like, no, baby, I'm talking to you. I was like, no, but and Red and Donnell were like, that's how we talk, Bert. Calm down. Like, this is the way we communicate. Like, she's not mad at you. She's just talking shit to you. That's Bert, relax. And they kept going, I thought you were black, Bert. Like, come on. Because I'm so into hip hop. I was
man.
Yeah, I don't like that shit, man. It scares me.
It's like aggressive.
Me and Red went and played golf in Compton, and they were talking while I was putting. They were like, he don't want me to miss.
Oh,
He ain't gonna miss it. He gonna miss it. $10 says he misses it. And I'm like, guys, you don't put money on my pet. Like, what the fuck? What is wrong with you guys?
Honestly, that sounds like fun compared to most golf.
So much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun golfing in Compton. I was like, I go, Red, when my dad comes out, we got to take him golfing in Compton. And he was like, what? Red was oblivious to it. He was like, really?
Never golfed any other way.
Well, it's like, why would you go? You know, golf courses are fairly segregated as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where's the rich Jewish golf club he's going to in the South? It's not. He's going to go to where he feels most comfortable. The same I probably went to where I felt most comfortable. And then I remember we left that golf course and went to Jack in the Box. We were driving home. We went to Jack in the Box, and I was at Jack in the Box in Compton. And ordering at Jack in the Box in Compton is very different than ordering at Jack in the Box in the Valley. It's just it's a much more high intense situation.
It sounds like a field trip.
It was, but the thing is like, I don't know what I was saying. I don't know where this fucking point was going. Oh, we're talking about Vietnamese people on the plane.
Right.
It's crazy that you in white America you have this private space, you have this space like don't touch me, don't talk to me, don't like you just touch me like but
it'd be weird, right?
And then African American culture, black culture, touch you, talk to you, yell at you, but that's how they communicate. And not everyone. This fucking is turning into a fucking rally. And so anyway, but so what were we talking about? What's
talking about? I forgot, but it reminded me of something. I actually probably back when you and I met at first, I was taking groups of Americans to North Korea before it became illegal. That's what I was doing for a while, and that culture was in a way similar to Japan, even though they're enemies of Japan, because they're all quiet on the subway. They're quiet in public. They don't talk loudly at all. In fact, they really don't look each other in the eye, and they mind their own business a lot. But that's out of fear, I think.
Russia was like that when I first went to Russia.
Really?
It was a lot of people held hands or would like a lot of women always like held arms together and would walk with their arms together so they could whisper to each other. But it's just ingrained in them, in their DNA from when in communist days, you never talked. You didn't want to give anyone a reason to believe that you were talking bad about the government.
Exactly.
On the subways, they were silent on the subways. Nothing like New York. Like New York subways are loud as fucking shit.
Yeah, of course. That's if you don't have.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to bother your time.
Yeah, that's if you don't have that, or a flip show, or a hip hop show, or a dance off. Yeah,
it's fucking. I would love to go to North Korea.
Yeah, I want to go back. The problem is now it's illegal for us to go.
It is?
It's illegal for Americans to go.
Unless you befriend Kim Jong-un.
That's right. I did go with Dennis Rodman.
You did?
Yeah, back in, what year was that? 2014?
Really?
Yeah.
Did you meet Kim Jong-un?
I did not, which sucks. Such BS.
It's so funny. I can very easily, obviously he's a much worse person probably than Donald Trump. Globally.
Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
Or Dennis Rodman? Yeah.
No, Kim Jong-un. And, but I can very easily compartmentalize that because I don't see the atrocities. I don't see it.
Yeah.
And I've always made this joke that I want to go party with him. Like I said it on Rogan. I was like, hey, get this out there. I want to party with Kim Jong-un one night because that's my way my brain works.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sure if at any point if I saw what was going on in that country, I would be.
Yeah, you have to
appalled.
compartmentalize it. It's like who else is like like if Vladimir Putin was like, I like your comedy. I heard your Russia story. It's hilarious.
By the way,
let's do something.
Put that out there. I'd go to Vladimir Putin. I'd fly myself out.
Sure.
Just to go fucking riding horses with them or fishing or go do a polar plunge.
Yeah, it would be amazing. But then you got to think like, all right, doesn't have the greatest track record of human freedom, but you're also thinking, look, I'm just here for the story.
I'm here for the fucking party.
Yeah.
Just fucking throw back some vodka.
Oh my God. That's once in a lifetime. Hopefully you don't end up with getting killed doing it, which
Vladimir
seems
Putin,
unlikely.
Put it out there. I am up for it, and I can kind of communicate with you.
Yeah, and you can tell that they'll have a translator tell the machine story in Russian. There's no way he hasn't seen that. It's like one of the most kind of viral.
Hey, if anyone's listening and you're in Russia, can you make sure Vladimir Putin sees my machine story and then tell him I'll come over and tell it in Russian in Russia?
There's got to be Russian social media networks where he is on, because he's not on freaking Twitter.
They don't have Twitter in Russia?
They do, but I don't think he's on any of that stuff.
Well, they definitely have. You know what they definitely have over there is Periscope. Have you ever been on Periscope?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, Scott Adams is on there. You know who that is?
Who's Scott Adams?
He created Dilbert. I think, was he ever on Rogan? I don't know. He's always on Periscope. I don't know. I wish I had more to say about that.
Is today 420?
No, it's 11th.
It's Periscope. If you go to Periscope, this is one of my favorite things to do in the world.
I don't even have
is you go to the globe part.
Yeah.
And then you go to Russia and you see who's live streaming, and then you watch it, and then you share it with your fans, and you guys watch them together. My favorite, I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do is go on Periscope, find someone interesting, and then share it with everyone, and then watch their numbers blow up by 1,000.
Really?
And then they're like, wait, what the fuck happened? One of my favorite ones ever. It's this, I'm gonna say 13-year-old black chick. Overweight, hair's a little picked out, and the title is "I'm about to kill me this burger," right? and it's and the picture is a picture. It's her with her hand in her face in her hand like this, right, on a table, and in the foreground, closer to the phone, is the burger, and it's just her and the burger, and it says "I'm about to kill me this burger," and I see it. And I watch it for a second. I'm the only one in the room, right? It's just me. And I'm watching it, and her eyes are just staring at that burger. And I go, oh, this is good. I want to see this girl kill this fucking burger. So I share it with my fans, and the numbers start climbing, like 100, 200, 300. And I see her eyes look at the thing, and kind of like, I can see it register with her eyes, like this. And then she goes, oh, hell no, Bert, and just starts blocking motherfuckers, right, on her phone. And then she just blocks me. And I was like, oh, she wanted to do it maybe she was doing it for one other person.
Oh.
But the second she saw me share it and saw 1,000 people come in the room, she was like, "Oh hell no, Bert," because she knew I was the first one in that room and that I shared it, and that's why everyone came in. And I fucking love this little girl so much. I think about her from time to time, where I go, I wonder what she did with that. I should have only watched it. I was fucking needy. I was greedy. I fucking wanted to share this great moment. I should have just watched it for myself. She wanted to. This girl was fucking beautiful and artistic impression. She wanted one person to see her kill this burger. She wanted to share it with one fucking person. It could have been me, but I wanted to fucking increase my digital footprint and get people to like me. So I shared it with fucking everyone, and I never got to see her kill this burger. I know I'm blocked from her. You know she does that from time to time.
I'm sure she might kill a burger every day.
I'm about to kill me this burger.
You might have to reenact that one. I gotta get Periscope now.
Dude, Periscope's fun as fuck.
Yeah, it sounds fun the way that you talk about it.
I don't really promote it. I don't use it like that. But to find people, there's this girl Julia that lives in Brooklyn, and she just smokes bowls, and she's fun as fuck, and she's cute, but she's like cute in like your friend's sister kind of way, you know. And I follow her, and then I always share whenever she has a video. There's these other. I always like girls that smoke bowls, like girls that smoke weed. I always dig that. I can watch that forever.
That's so... I never thought about that being interesting, just Periscope in general, but there's a lot of... I think the only time I ever used it, I was at LAX like probably 2 or 3 years ago now, and there was this like... They said it was a shooting, and we all evacuated. Turns out some dumbass just dropped like a briefcase on the ground, and the TSA guy yelled shooter. So the whole airport cleared out. We were on the tarmac.
What a great way to get a fucking long lunch break if you're a TSA
agent.
Man. Shooter!
Yep, that was exactly what happened. So I started to like live stream the whole thing, and it was cool because the news picked it up, and I felt pretty important for like 5 seconds. This woman got super,
everything.
This woman got super pissed because I go, hey, what do you know, what's your experience? And she's like, I'm worried about my kid. I don't know where my kids are, or my husband or something. And I was like, are they still inside? And she's like, no, they're on the other side. I was like, so they're safe. They're outside. And she goes, are you filming me? And she lost her shit.
Really?
And she was like trying to hit me and stuff. And she went up to a security guy and she was like, I want to get him in trouble. He's filming me. And this, thank God for this random hipster guy. He goes, ma'am, you have no expectation of privacy. You're in public. You're in a public place. And then the security guy, who clearly didn't know that, was like, yep, that sounds right. And was just like, okay. And I should know that shit. I'm a lawyer. That didn't even occur to me. I was just like, I gotta run away from this crazy lady.
God bless that hipster.
Yeah.
God bless all those fucking hipsters that do all those traffic stop videos where they refuse to roll down their window.
Am I being
detained? Am I being detained?
It was one of those guys for sure.
Ma'am, you are in public. You have no expectation of privacy. Isn't that right, sir? And then the security guard goes, yep, your privates. Show your privates. All right, yep.
that was 100% it. This like recently immigrated from Philippines security guy was like, okay, I'm not even sure what you guys are even talking about, but I'm not doing anything about this because what he said
what you're talking about, but I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. She told the Southwest flight attendant who was like handing out water to people on the tarmac, he's filming me, and she goes, oh, like all like cheerful.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And combs her hair back.
Yeah, like really.
I had a woman I think about. Sometimes when women get older, their faces get bigger, their heads get bigger.
Huh, I didn't know that.
No, you got to look around. Look at, like, you'll see it. Now that I've told you to, you'll see it.
Now I'm going to see it everywhere.
They didn't start the world with those big heads.
It's like tree rings.
Yeah, it's like some women, their heads get massive. And so there's this woman with a very big head. I have Clear, right?
Oh, I love Clear.
Yeah, I have Clear. So I go to the Clear thing, check in, and they take me right up to the front, and I pass this woman, and she went, ugh, seriously? She's with her husband, and you can tell by the look on her husband's face, this is not the first time she has caused a public incident.
Oh, he just like started
He's just
looking.
like,
oh no.
Fuck. She goes, excuse me, and then the guy goes, ma'am, he's in Clear, and she goes, I don't know what Clear is. Like now it's our fault that she's uninformed,
right?
And I said, well, it's something you pay for. I pay for extra so that I can go to the front of the line, and I don't have to. They don't check my stuff. They check it. She went, and so then the guy at the front goes, he can come through, and I go through, and I get in front of her, and I don't think about it again. And then I go to the other side, and then she gets in my face and goes, so you're telling me for a little money I can be rude to everybody? And I went, yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
100%.
If that's why you read that, yeah, then 100%.
And it's only like $175 a year. I have a 3-month free pass if you want to try it.
Clear is the best.
It's the best, yeah.
Although I've been getting butt fucked on Clear lately because every time I've done it, I've whatever opener and my assistant go in just TSA pre-check, and it's always been empty.
Oh man!
And so, but I like Clear.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Clear.
The one time you get it, so what it is for people that don't know is you pay like literally $175 a year. You use your fingerprints as biometrics, so you don't need your ID out. Your boarding pass can be on your phone, whatever. You scan it. They walk you up ahead of the TSA line, ahead of the regular line, of course. The TSA guy doesn't need to look at your ID, and they bring you right to the pre-check or whatever. And
to the front of the pre-check. They walk you to the front of the pre-check.
Right. And so it a lot of times won't do anything. Like you said, it doesn't matter. But what it does is it gets rid of the guesswork, right? So like if you had a 15-minute or maybe it's going to take 45 because you don't know, now you know it always takes 5 minutes to get through. So if it's your home airport, you know with consistency that you're good. And it's the one time you're about to miss a flight and you get clear, you're like, this is worth $175 no matter what.
Fucking %. Give me a tip. Well, we'll wrap this up soon. I feel like I've had you for 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Dang.
But give me some lessons. Give me some tips. Give me some life lessons.
Sure. So
give me Jordan 101.
Yeah, let me think of something quick and actionable. So one thing that I do every day that I recommend everybody do is like around 10 a.m. your time, or Pacific time, I should say, depending on what time you're listening to this, go into your phone, go to the text app, go all the way to the bottom. This is your worst nightmare, Bert, by the way.
Okay.
But you go all the way to the bottom of your text app, and that's where you...
Text, is that this
Yeah,
thing?
like messages, yeah. That's where you've got like all those dead conversations that you haven't talked to, people you haven't talked to in like 2 years. Send them a message and be like, hey, I haven't talked to you for a minute, what's going on? And then sign your name. And you'll get updates from people that you never would normally re-engage. And what's really good about that is you'll get a ton of opportunity from that. Like a lot of people, for me, I'll do this to 4 or 5 people every day. And once a week, I'll get somebody who's like, hey, do you still speak? I'm going into a meeting right now. We're choosing our keynote speakers. What would you charge? Like 10, 20K? And I'm like, sure. So they'll come at me with an opportunity like that, or they'll go, hey, my friend just started a podcast and he's got a radio show. Would you consider going on that? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I get these opportunities out of there. It never results in long phone calls, and I'm always top of mind for people. So even if they don't engage with me right then, maybe a week later they'll come back and go, hey, my friend just asked me about people that know a lot about this. Do you know about this?
That is genius. That is a perfect one. Give me another one.
All right. Let's see.
10 a.m. every day. I like that. This one's from Jessica Wellington. Well, I've talked to her. Scott at Yuck Yucks. X-Pac. James. Who's James? Hey, Bert. It's James from... Hey, this guy sold me my gun.
There you go.
Hey, man. Just thinking about you. That's wait, that's not. See, this is why I don't reply to text. What do I say?
Literally,
what do I say?
it's so funny.
What do I say?
Literally, the script should be, "Hey, James," use their name, otherwise they think it's a group text. So, hey, James.
Hey, James.
Been a long time.
Been a long time.
What's the latest with you? What's the latest with you? Question mark.
That's fucking so. I can't do that.
It sounds a little too.
It sounds too
homo.
Still voice texting. Now it says, "Hey, it's been a long time. What's the latest with you?"
What you can do is say,
"Fuck, I can't do that."
What? Okay, here's another version for people that you don't know as well.
Okay.
Hey, James, it's been a minute. That sounds a little more manly and like lackadaisical.
How about this? Ready? Still loving my gun. I hope all is well with you, Bert.
Perfect. The only critique that I would have with that, and look, I'm not trying
still loving my guns.
That's perfect. The only critique, it doesn't compel a response because it doesn't ask a question, but it's good enough.
Hey,
baby steps. This chair really loves wobbling.
Kind of want a Desert Eagle 50 caliber.
He's like, what do I look like, a Ukrainian arms dealer?
Here's my gun arms dealer.
Fix this while I'm sitting in it, can I?
What is it 50 caliber Desert Eagle 50 caliber? Kind of want a Desert Eagle. Okay, I'm doing it. I just sent it. Oh, I didn't put my name on it. Fuck, he's going to be like...
Send the next one, just be like Bert Kreischer.
I lost it. I don't know where it is.
James,
it's
at the top.
All right, let's see who else I can do that to. Mo Mandel. Ready?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to know that I got to stop doing this. Okay. What is it? What is it again?
How well do you know Mo Man? It doesn't
Very
even
well,
matter.
very well, very
oh,
well.
yeah. You can say, hey, man, it's been a minute. Or, hey, Mo, it's been a minute that way.
Hey, Mo, it's been a minute. Dash. Do you have anything you can...
I always say, what's the latest on your end? Because it doesn't sound ridiculous in my world. Maybe it's too...
Let's podcast soon. There, that's fine.
Yeah, that's
I would
fine.
love to do a podcast with Mo.
Yeah, there you go. And then it compels a response because you're kind of asking him to do that, even though it's
Brian Unger.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Brian Unger. Oh, Brian Unger. Brian Unger. Brian Unger.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is. I'm going to Google it. I feel out of
Hey, Brian. Dash. It's been a minute. Dash. Wondering if you ever got your podcast set up. Let me know if you need any help. Dash. Bert.
Actor, comedian, writer, producer.
Stop talking. It just wrote actor, comedian, writer, producer.
Did it really?
Hey, wondering it's been a minute. You gotta.
Your
If you
voice
got your
gets really
podcast set up, let me know if you need any help. Bert. He's gonna go. I don't remember you.
Aha. That's why I always
this is
use
great. This is really fucking great.
Yeah, if you do this, I set a calendar appointment and I do it at 10 a.m. The reason I do it at 10 a.m. is
All
because...
these are people I don't know.
Oh, yeah. If you don't know them at
Just
all...
YouTube. It's just people sending me YouTube videos.
10 a.m. is good on Pacific time because people here are awake and caffeinated,
Hey,
and
Pete,
in New York it's like
Dash,
after
just
lunch.
letting you know. Fuck. Okay. Fuck.
I use the same script almost every time. That way I don't have to do that whole...
Yeah, good call. You just
Yeah.
got to write one script
Yeah.
and send them out.
I have this
This
all
has been
online.
really good. Didn't have Pete Davidson's number saved.
Why this is good is if you do this 4 times a day,
Pete
5 days a
Davidson,
week,
this is great.
it's 20 people a week, which is like, and if you do it on weekends, whatever, then you end up with 100 people that you've re-engaged each month. And this is time you'd normally spend like looking at Twitter and then closing your phone.
This
'cause you
is
didn't
really
find shit.
great.
Yeah, this is super useful. This is a game changer for people who do anything, like whether they run their own business or any kind of sales.
This is really fucking great. Okay, give me another life lesson. That's fucking awesome.
Sure.
Oh, hold on. I like this a lot. Hey, Tyler, I heard your life's changed drastically. Dash, let me know. I'm dying to hear. Dash, not slinging that big dick around anymore? Question mark? Is that the kind of...
Yeah, did you sign your name though? Otherwise, you
Nope.
might not know who it
I'm
is.
not on that one. It said singing that big dick around. The fucking voice changing. Give me another
All
life
right.
lesson. I love this.
So here's another one. If I'm looking on social media, I don't know, do you use social media all the time? Like
Yes.
Twitter and everything?
Yes.
So a lot of people will just reply or they'll click like on something.
Yeah.
Instead of doing that, because that just gets lost in the fold. Like, look, if someone clicks like on some shit you post, you're not like, oh, Jordan liked this. I better get in touch with him. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So what I do is if somebody, let's say they have a baby, they get married, they go on a trip, or it's something else just that's interesting for me. Like if you have a show and I see it on social media, I'm not just going to click like. I'm not just going to like type a comment. I'll send you a text or I'll send you an email. Maybe not you, because I know you'll never answer that
No,
text.
but I'm still thinking of me going, hey, man, somebody guys sold me my gun. I've been thinking about
That did
I've been
come up.
thinking about you. Oh, the poor guy. He's a fucking arms dealer. And he's hey, buddy. Please don't reply to this. Hey, man, I've been thinking about you. This is why I don't reply to emails. Let's get together. I would love to sit and talk. I'm going through some shit. I need your help. What are you wearing?
I'm imagining some guy like in a mobile home cooking meth and getting this text.
If you wrote back, I don't sell guns anymore.
I have
It was
crystal
just a
meth though.
summer job. I can't help you. But I've been thinking about you too, Bert. I miss you. What are you doing Friday nights? I added Dave to this thread. He's been thinking about you too. I'm fucking sweating. I'm sweating.
I'm
This
definitely-
is why I'm a fucking idiot. Oh,
How often does this happen on the show?
this is hard. This is officially the hardest I've ever laughed on this podcast.
Oh my god.
Oh fuck. I've been thinking about you.
I love that that's the first thing you came up with too.
The thing about this is why I knew I picked the best job in the world. I don't like anything more than
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Than that laughing like that. I mean, the first time I ever laughed like that, it was at Ryan Valerius's house. Something that just made me laugh, and I remember the thing is if I thought about it more, it would make me laugh harder, and I loved that feeling. I loved it. Was a weird way. It's like almost like giving yourself an orgasm. Like you could make yourself laugh harder. The time I shaved Tom Segura's tits one time, and I could not stop laughing. God, that just made me fucking laugh. What was your other fucking bit of advice?
Oh my! I'm in this point where if I say the wrong thing, I'm gonna laugh for a really long time. I need to take a deep breath. What was the next thing? Right. So instead of
liking it, so if I have post a photo on Facebook,
yeah. So I use the algorithm to sort of remind me who has something that's worth keeping in touch. So like someone gets married, has a baby, gets a new job, moves, whatever it is, or launches a book, whatever it is. I send them a text or call them instead. Even if they don't answer, it doesn't matter because they're getting let's say they get 2,000 likes on their wedding photo. They get 800 comments on their wedding photo. They get 25 text messages, mostly from family. So you stand out above all those other people, and it looks like you care more, even though you just put forth the exact same amount of effort as everybody who just wrote a comment on frickin' Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So you kind of end up above the fold. You cut through the noise of all the other people because those people are putting a comment in or putting a like. They don't get any recognition. That person will almost certainly reply to your text and they'll be like, you're one of the few people that cared enough to shoot me a note or whatever. And it's not really true. You got 100 emails, you got 800 comments, you got 1,000 likes. You just got 30 texts and I was one of them and the other 20 were from cousins and your college roommate. You stand way out.
That's a really smart idea. All right, let's do that real quick.
Yeah, try that. So look who pops up on your feed. And
on Facebook,
yeah,
right?
Sure.
Okay, let's go to
Facebook or Instagram, but Facebook is better in my opinion at filtering for big
Facebook.
news. Let's see who I got too.
Tiffany Haddish. I'm not gonna text her. Let's see. A lot of people. God damn it. Some of these people I don't fucking know. My Facebook's so filled with people I don't know.
I'm sure. My entire feed right now is my mom. What does that say about me?
Julie Buckman's kid is fucking good looking. I don't have Julie's number. I would definitely text her. Hillary Holtz. Oh fuck. Steve Marmel. I can't. Oh, I love it. Okay, Aaron von Schoenfeld is the booker of the Improv, right?
There you go.
She just posted a picture of the new side of the Improv and it said clean slate. Now, I'm going to text Aaron.
What is she? What's her news? She posted a picture.
Clean slate. Just saw the pic on Facebook of the new wall at the Improv. Dash, are you looking for a new artist? I've been doing some finger painting lately. It looks. I forget. Take that.
That would be pretty fun. She would. That reminds her of you in the exact way that you want.
I've been getting pretty serious into painting. Can I send you some specs? Can I send you some specs? Can I send you some specs of some ideas I think would be great? Fuck, this is why I don't text people. This is fucking
We should have
horrible.
started with this bit.
Just saw the pic on Facebook of the new Healthy Improv. I've been getting pretty serious about painting. Oh,
Tell
Bert.
me you see the dots. It's coming back.
Hold on, I'm sending it right now.
Oh, right on. I'm going to fix this wobbly fucking chair. Hold on a second.
Oh. This is why I don't text anybody. Do you realize this is because I fucking send texts that are... Halston, can you cut this up to put on...
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was going to say, I don't picture you just like kind of checking in on people, you know?
I don't. Okay, that was one for Aaron. Okay, this is Christian. No. Tom Clark. I'm really bad at this.
It actually gets a lot easier over time, of course.
I'm seeing if I can find a friend that I grew up with. Artie Fuqua. Hanson Sinclair. What's this? Jose Martinez. Well, where the fuck did they go? Oh, they went to fucking WrestleMania? This is hard for me because a lot of these people, I don't really have anyone's number.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
great idea. That's a great idea. I like that idea a lot. Keep going. Give me one more. Give me one
Oh,
more.
man.
Give me one more and we'll wrap it up.
Sure. Let's see. Let me pick a really good one here. There's a lot of... So this is more for people who want to reach out to... You know what? Actually, screw that one.
Listen, this is what this guy wrote. I've deleted my Instagram account due to it being hacked and Instagram see me. Not to give a crap. Because it sends me messages and requests that I don't ask for. I'm going to text them with a message and request. Just go, hey man. Are you sleeping okay? Because I have a mattress for you. Lisa Mattresses would be a great... Oh, fuck me. Oh, my God.
I think we invented a new segment for your show, obviously.
Just go,
right
oh, my
now.
God. I'm going to fucking pass out. This is why I have a hard time texting people, because my brain fucks off so quickly. So to a place where it's just making me laugh that I go, don't send it. And then I wish you could be in bed with me in the mornings. As I just did this and you were laying next to me fully clothed and I was naked. Oh, I want to send that text to this guy. Just delete everything because they're fucking sending me things I don't want. You interested in a penis enlargement? Oh, fuck me. Now we're just...
Yeah, now we're just on our own.
This is, I'm not even talking right now. I'm just literally thinking of jokes to text people.
I think that would work great for you, honestly. If it entertains you and people respond to it, it's perfect re-engagement for you.
Okay, let's see what Aaron said. Let's see if Aaron replied. We would love that.
Good, I got a homeless guy at Starbucks who could use a little painting work.
Yeah.
The painting.
Oh yeah, I can get that homeless guy.
Definitely get him a job.
Oh my God.
He's pretty good, right? Have him paint a mural of all the comics, including you, on the
Hey
wall.
Bert,
at the
this is
Improv.
Sammy over at Cameo. You have 197 fans waiting to book you when you're back, which equates to a lot of easy money. We've been mentioned on the Ellen Show, ESPN, and more.
I get that too from that app.
Michael Rosenbaum, Jeff Ross, and Brian Callen just joined. Now that Cameo is taken off, are you interested in hopping back on? We'd love to get you up and running. Let me know. How do I reply to that, Jordan?
Those Cameo and I've been going back and forth for a long time. Isn't that the one where people can like pay you for a video message or something like that? I feel guilty doing that kind of thing.
I do too. I mean, I feel like just come to my show and just give me your phone and I'll do it for free.
Yeah, people write in for advice or they do stuff. I do like phone consulting and I always donate the money to charities and stuff because I like helping people, but I don't want to do it for free on the phone because then you just get all these time wasters. So charge a lot and then make a huge ass donation to like a charity.
Or charge a lot, say you're going to make the donation and keep it.
There's another idea.
I've done that before. It's pretty fucking works out really well.
Works out really well.
Oh, yeah. People are like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, you have live shows. I don't have anything like that where people can come and
I would definitely do it. I wouldn't give it to charity. I would definitely, if people want to talk to you for money about advice, you're a very bright dude. Like Thanks, idea man. Of going through the end of your things and just staying. I mean, it doesn't work for me because there are a lot of people I don't want to be in the forefront of their brains.
No, I mean just skip those people.
Yeah, no, but like, and then but it's if you're a young guy trying to market yourself and get yourself out there and build your business or build your brand, that's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah,
just go through those emails.
Yeah, you can do it. Another thing is if you don't have someone's number. This is another thing that I did when I was traveling a bunch, which I still do a bunch. Once I go through the text, I don't necessarily want immediate responses, so I'll do the same thing with Gmail. I call it Gmail roulette. I'll go in and I'll type like BE into the compose window, and it'll be like Bert Kreischer, and I'll be like, nah, I texted him, or he is not an email guy, and it'll be like, Berto, your old sales guy from your company. I'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't talked with him in a while, because there's a certain contingent of people that you don't have their number, but you have their email, and you still want to be in touch with them. So I'll just shoot off random emails like that.
Let's do it.
By typing in 2 letters. And I'll get a lot of people that are surprised as hell to hear from you. And it does the exact same thing.
Who the fuck's this guy? Artwork. Oh, this guy's... Oh, you know what? I should get that guy to do that. All right. So we'll go into compose.
Yep.
And you said, give me 2 letters.
GR.
GR. Greg Fitzsimmons.
There you go.
Let's text Greg Fitzsimmons. Hey, man, been thinking about you a lot. Yo, let's podcast, just me and you. Fuck, that came off wrong. Yo, let's podcast. Fuck, never mind. I'm not gonna send the email. This is why I fucking I'm already fucking panicked about what I'm saying.
Oh, well, okay. So I use the same script every single time. I use their name. I say, "What's the latest?" or "What's the latest with you?" No rush on the reply. I know you're really busy. And the reason I do that is because when people haven't heard from you for like 2 years or 6 months, often they'll go, what is this, like some Scientology bullshit? Are you trying to get me to sell Herbalife? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So and people who are trying to do like multi-level marketing or trying to get something from you, they usually build urgency by going like, oh, limited time opportunity. If you break the urgency by saying like, no rush, I know you're really busy, it actually increases your response rate. I tested this and I
just texted Greg Fitzsimmons.
Yeah,
Yoda's podcast. Bert.
Yeah.
I'm gonna type in. I'm gonna see another GR that's not Greg Fitzsimmons. I'm gonna go through the list. Cruising. Nope. Don't know that person. Don't know that person. David Grant at Fox. Don't know that person. Fred Graver. Oh, that's his Travel Channel email. He's not of that anymore. Grimes Cannon. Not looking for a Coke. Kathy Griffin. I'm not gonna text Kathy.
No.
Red Grant. I was just talking about you.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Really?
Yeah. I was just talking about you on a podcast and I wanted to see what was going on. Hope you're well.
Hey, Red, I was just talking about you on a podcast. I miss you. Oh my God. Hope all's well. Hope all's well. Dash. Fucking hope all's well. This is fucking horrible. This is
good for you. I feel like I should come over next month. We should do another round of this because it's like exposure therapy.
This is fucking horrible. I was just thinking about you. All right. We should wrap this up.
All right.
Top 5 podcasts you can go tell my listeners to go listen to of yours right now.
Sure.
Number ones where you go, definitely listen to this. Give me 3.
Yeah, sure. Chris Voss, the negotiation one.
100%. I'm listening to that podcast, and I just bought his book.
Yeah, I like the Caesar Milan one. A lot of people
100%.
maybe into that. And this might be controversial with you, but I just had Lisa Lampanelli on the show.
I love Lisa
as well.
Lampanelli.
And she's actually super nice. I had no idea she was going to be so nice.
Yeah, I love Lisa, but she didn't
really
like
cool.
me.
You sure?
Yeah, no, I know she didn't.
When was this?
This was probably 10 years ago. She was in Tampa. She was performing at a theater, and I was doing radio with my buddy Cowhead. And I had a great story I wanted to tell her. An amazing story I wanted to tell her. A very flattering story. And so I told Cowhead, hey, can I stay in here so I can tell her the story? I think she'll dig it. And he was like, of course. Cowhead's one of my best friends. Mike Calta is his name. And so she refused to come in on air because I was in there. And I was like, and I knew her. I actually knew Lisa from New York. I mean, I used to work the door at the Boston Comedy Club, and she would come in when she was a horrible comic. She used to wear gold chains and gold rings and gold teeth, and
Whoa.
and just it was really a nightmare act. And she had transformed herself into who she is now, who we know her to be now, and it was really a cool story for. I wasn't going to share that part. That wasn't what I was going to share. What I was going to share is I was in a I was doing a TV show where I had to be a male stripper at a gay bar, and I had to. And it was a contest. It was a striptease contest. And it was a lot of drag queens. And some of them weren't even getting fully naked. They were just singing and kind of losing clothes. And the guy that won in an all-gay bar in Vegas went up dressed glamorously and like Lisa Lampanelli and played her comedy album and just lip-synced her comedy album. And it murdered,
Wow.
and it killed, and it was fucking, as a comic who knew her, it's different, but just as a comic, it was inspirational to see a group of men fucking laughing hysterically to a guy dressed as Lisa Lampanelli, lip-syncing her stuff, and it murdered, and I was like so fucking badass, and we have footage of it, and I wanted to get her the footage of it. I thought she'd be cool. I thought she'd be like really excited.
Yeah.
And she said, I won't go in there as long as he's in that room. Get him out of that room. I don't do radio with other comics. And I went, hold on. Tell her I have a really good story. And they did. She goes, I don't care. Get him the fuck out.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wow, that really stinks that you missed out. I don't know where that footage is now. We had it at the time. And I was like, I want to get it to her.
Oh, man.
And she really missed out. It should be really cool footage to have of this gay guy. I grabbed our cameraman. I was like, shoot this. Cover all of this. Please cover all this. I know this chick. She's going to want this video.
She's really different now. I mean, she lost a bunch of weight and she quit comedy, as you know.
She quit comedy?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
She quit. Yeah, like 4 months ago. She doesn't do it at all anymore.
Really?
Yeah. She's like, I was just being too negative. I didn't like who I was becoming. I quit. It's not who I want to be.
Okay. She has money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's she going to do?
She does shows and stuff like about body image and stuff. She's like, I'm trying to be more of service because I spent a lot of years being negative. That's what the show was. She talked about it on the show. She went on Stern and then she did up my show like a few months later.
Was she funny?
She's funny in how she is, but she wasn't like on there to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. She's pretty serious about it. She lost 107 pounds or something too.
Good for her.
Yeah.
She was always a very nice person. I mean, I had
I'll show
nothing.
you a photo. She looks completely different, dude.
I think I saw it. She looks like Kate from Kate Plus 8.
Maybe. There you go.
Yeah, good for her. Yeah, she still looks like Lisa. She wasn't nice to me that one time in radio. And I think she was probably going through a ton of shit. I can't imagine what that kind of success was like at the time, because no one was having that success. I mean, she was doing it. She was successful when no one was doing theaters. There's someone just changed a hose. And so, but she was always very sweet to me when I worked the door. Dude, this has been a fucking amazing podcast.
This is really fun, man. I hope your listeners like it too, because they might be like, dude, Jordan's not funny.
They're going to have critiques of you, but only because it doesn't have to be funny, but they'll have critiques of you because of the way you approach life. I think a lot of people don't approach life that way, but if they can pivot and just take what works. I'm a cynical person. I don't think you're very cynical. I think you look at life as glass half full. We can fill this if we work hard enough and we figure things out and we let our time work for us. And I think if people take a step back and allow that optimism into their life and maybe take maybe going through old emails and reaching out to people, it feels like a cold call to some people.
Yeah.
But it's not if you go, that's a friend I haven't spoken to in a long time.
Exactly.
And if you go through I've been wanting to talk to Pete Davidson ever since everything's gone on with him. I feel like he might be alone or lonely.
Yeah.
And he had texted me and I never replied to it. And I feel bad now and I go, ooh. And then, by the way, the date on that, this is bizarre, but I think it's right when he started dating Ariana Grande. I think it's literally.
Oh yeah. By the way, for the record, I'm not a super positive
It was 1 year ago. It was 1
guy.
year ago.
Oh man.
Almost is March, January, February, March, April 25th.
Oh yeah. It's like 50 weeks ago.
I'm seeing one from like September 2018 when they started dating.
Oh. Anyway, but this has been a great podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Dude, real quick, give me all the plugs so that Halston can write them down.
Oh yeah.
Jordan Harbinger Show.
Yeah, the Jordan Harbinger Show is the podcast. JordanHarbinger.com is my website, and I'm at Jordan Harbinger on Twitter, Instagram, and I answer everything that comes into my inbox. It takes me forever, but I answer everything because I feel like if someone's going to take the time to write, even if my answer sort of sucks, like they'll ask me a huge question, I'll be like, cool, maybe I'll answer it on Friday. But I reply to everybody, so if you don't hear from me, just try again. But I appreciate all of the people that give me a chance to try to change their mind about something. But I was saying before, I'm not all about positivity. I'm not like, look, the sun is shining, like you're alive, be grateful. I'm not that guy at all. I'm very realistic when it comes to like negative emotions have their function too. So I'm not like a self-help type
No,
guy.
I don't think you are at all.
Okay, cool. I just want to be that.
No, I don't think you are
record.
at all. But I do think you look at life where you get out of bed and you go, I'm not going to fucking waste this shit.
Yeah, only out of necessity. I spent too many years being fucking tired, depressed, and being like, this person has something I don't have. And it's just, life's too fucking short to do that
Dude,
every day.
this is the hardest I've ever laughed on a podcast.
I appreciate
Without
it.
a doubt, the hardest I've ever fucking laughed on a podcast. And it's because a lot of the shit that you're good at, I suck at. And I think we figured out why I suck at it.
Well, I'm happy to do this anytime, and you should come on the Jordan Harbinger Show.
I would love to. I would absolutely love to.
We'll disassemble more of our weird personality flavors in front of a huge audience.
Done. All right, I'm going to go help my wife change a hose.
Do it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.